Shadowboxing with Filthy and J-Dog.
Hey there, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 3 of Shadowboxing, a community TSR podcast. I am J-Dog4, joined by my best friend and constant co-host, Filthy Hand 74. Filthy, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good tonight, man. Just relaxing, chilling. This podcast is not, but I'm gonna say it is sponsored by Line and Kugels.
There you go.
I'm gonna fucking say it until it happens.
Right. Or until we say something so unspeakable that we know there's no chance they would ever sponsor us.
Notice the label's conveniently facing out.
Yeah. My
Smart.
label's
And then
not,
we'll get to them.
but I'm drinking Miller High Life Light.
No one's trying to be sponsored by water.
Well, okay. First of all, rude. Secondly, I think we're more likely to get sponsored by Miller High Life than we are by Line and Kugels. Don't you think?
You may or may not be wrong. I'm not gonna divulge what I feel.
I think that I'm right. But anyways, a couple things that you might notice different from the first couple episodes. First one would be the kick-ass audio intro that you just heard. Shout out to Shane, Freight Train Shane, for hooking us up with that. That's awesome, and we've got some more audio in the work too, so that'll be really fun. And I'm sure the other thing that you've noticed is the new layout that we have. We took some feedback. We tried to make things a little cleaner. This layout is not done. It will be improved upon, but this is literally, and again, Shane hooked us up with this one, whipped this up for us real quick today, and we'll continue to improve it. But as of right now, I think it's a really good look, honestly. So, Shane, thank you so much, good sir. You were an awesome guest last week, and you hooked us up in a big way this week, so thank you. You will also notice that there's a third camera, like a third area for a personality, at the bottom there that's not a person, because that's where we would have our guest if we had one. We had somebody lined up. This is a late recording. We were supposed to start it at 11 Central Time. It's now 12:11 a.m. So we're starting at like midnight, which is not like unusual for us. The guest that we lined up is in the Eastern Time Zone and works in the mornings. So I'm pretty sure that they had to crash for the evening.
Yeah.
So it happens.
I mean, shit happens. It is what it is.
Exactly, and we record this pretty late. We don't have to necessarily. That's just sort of the way that's worked out. So we will make sure that we hook up with him again in the future. So don't worry. We'll make sure that we have that. But otherwise, we're just gonna run this through the way that we did the first episode and many of the last podcast that we did. So. Real quickly, we used to start these podcasts talking about our lives and stuff. Although, I feel like we had better news to share there. I remember, didn't you, on one of those episodes, announce that you'd gotten engaged?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
No, I got engaged. I'm married. I guess I have a baby on the way. That's cool.
That is
I
cool.
know she does, but
What?
I did the thing to make that happen.
You dumped inside of her.
Basically.
That's all it takes.
Just pulled one off real quick.
You just didn't pull out.
Yep.
It's like, that Tom Segura bit where he's like, pull out, guys. Next time, don't. He's like, I'll tell you what it feels like. The first time that you ever had cheese melted onto something and you were like, oh. Yeah, so anyways, that I don't have anything. I should have even brought this up. I don't have shit to say.
I don't know why the fuck we needed to start it like that, but here we are and let's go.
Hey, cheers to that. Okay, so this time we super for real mean it when we say we're going to be briefly scrolling through divisions. We really wanted to break down the top offenses, defenses, and standout statistics and things like that. So we definitely will not be spending a ton of time on divisions, especially if it's already clinched. We're just going to really breeze over those. We do want to make sure we talk about everybody a little bit, so we're going to touch on every division. We're just not going to spend particularly long amount of time in that.
Like an inordinate amount of time actually talking about him.
Yeah,
No, I
inordinate
agree.
was actually the word I was going to use, but then I was like, that's a silly word that people don't use in conversation.
It is a silly word.
It is a silly word. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on then to the AFC North. Do you want to lead the way with this one?
I mean, I've said it for 3 shows now, so I don't think really much needs to be said there. To me, it's quite plain and simple. Bomber won that division. It's locked up. That can't change. So, I think the Browns, we'll look at this. We'll look at Neon real quick because I do want to touch on the playoffs more than anything tonight. He beat me today. He's definitely still in the hunt. It was like a 16-13 game. I just played super fucking poorly on offense. Like, I don't know. That's why
You too?
I'm just back to it's played great on defense. It's just back to the drawing board, dude. Like, but I'm getting new things. I'm getting new concepts. I'm trying new things. I think, like, honestly, I threw 1 interception on something that's been working pretty well for me recently, and then, like, I didn't run it again. Like, I started shying away from shit where it's been like, well, this has been working really well recently, and yeah, I laid a clunker, but fuck it, whatever. Bengals 5-10. Pomp just wasn't really in it this year. Steelers Sky 5-10. That's my opponent next week. I'll be hitting you up, man, to get the game scheduled, but AFC North's been done with. I feel like it's been done with for a while, right?
Yeah. We've been saying this entire, since we started this podcast, we were like, well, it's Bombers Division to lose, and now it's just officially Bombers Division. So,
Yeah.
not a whole lot to talk about there. All right.
So we could probably skip on to the South from here, right?
I think so.
Sweet.
Ooh. This one's a division, though.
Yeah, Faz missed some games, man, and took some sim losses.
He's lost 3.
And now it is a division. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. And I know he took, he took a forced loss to me. And it's like, would I have beaten Faz? Probably not. But ultimately, and that's, we talked about this in chat too. It kind of seems like Faz probably just isn't concerned, right? Like, even if he doesn't win the division, does he really care?
He's gonna be in the playoffs.
He's gonna be in the playoffs, and matter. Does anybody really scare him? Do you think? Because I don't.
Now I know he plays Bomber. I think they're playing that game Tuesday. If I'm correct, I can actually look at that right fucking now.
They do at 6 o'clock.
It's at 6 o'clock. Sweet. I'm gonna try to tune into that if I can. And then he plays Hova.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm off tomorrow.
Lando, and Lando, who is supposed to be on tonight, they play as well.
Yeah. So,
but I see, like, even if he loses to the Raven, like, he's gonna win out those next 2 after that. Even if he loses to Bomber, he could beat Bomber as well. Well, the Colts plays Gouda, plays Jonesy, and then plays Death Wish. So that's going to be a really interesting race to the finish. Who has the tiebreaker? Kind of end on that.
It's the Jags, isn't it?
I believe.
I thought that he won the 2 early ones. Because I thought they played each other early. I could be misremembering.
Yeah,
also,
he won both of them. Yeah, no, he won both of them. So if it ends in a tie, it's going to the Jags. But I still see the Colts running through or the Jags running it out.
Yeah. I see that as well. Like I said, the only reason that I think maybe it might not happen would be that Faz knows he's going to the playoffs either way. I'm pretty sure that's locked in. I guess so if he went 10-7, theoretically, he could miss the playoffs. I guess I'd have to look at the race.
He's not locked in, so theoretically he could actually.
But he's not going to lose out. Like, he would just play games.
There's absolutely no fucking way.
But the other thing I wanted to say, the next time we run through this podcast, I'm gonna switch up the overlay such that I can seamlessly swap from my game capture of my PS5 to the Neon Sports website so that I can cycle back and forth so that we can have a little bit more in depth. But I don't think it's not gonna break this particular recording, this podcast episode, but just know that next time it'll be even better, and we're gonna continue to update and upgrade this podcast every week. And again, sorry to hijack the AFC South, but this plug, thank you guys for your feedback again. Your feedback is part of the changes that were made for this week, and we always love it. We always want to hear more of it. So, but yeah, I agree. I still think Hive is on a great 4-game win streak. All 3 of Faz's losses in a row have been forced losses, or at least 2 of them were. One might have been a straight sim. I don't even know. But the point is, he hasn't played them. He hasn't lost to a user yet. So I think once he plays those games, if he plays these games, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins out. The big one is obviously going to be against Bomber. And if Bomber's good, we know that, obviously. So if he loses, then it's interesting. Because Hive's on a tear. And again, maybe it's just interesting to us, and maybe Faz doesn't even care. He's like, as long as I make the playoffs, I don't care if I win the division. And if he has that kind of confidence, more power to him. But either way, this one's really close, and I think it'll be interesting. It'll be really... Everyone's going to need to tune in tomorrow at 6 o'clock to that Jags-Ravens game. Because, like, if for no other reason, then that could very likely be your AFC Championship preview.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun run to the finish for these two in the AFC South.
For sure. And then you got the Texans, who are kind of lurking there. He's on a 4-game win streak, so you never know. He's probably looking at a wild card spot, to be honest. If he can... Well, he might be looking at it. I don't know what that race looks like, but we will go over it. And then the Titans at 6-8 are probably out of it, especially having dropped 2 in a row. We are at that point in the season where 6-8 is not a terrible record, but it's probably not getting you to the playoffs.
Hey, getting you to the playoffs. You gotta win out to have a chance, and even then it's a slim to none in my mind.
Yeah. All right. Are we good with the moving to the AFC?
Yeah, I think we explained everything we had to.
Yeah.
On to the AFC East, and I'm over here smirking, and I got one question for you about this division, man.
Mm-hmm.
Are you bleeding up there on that hill any?
No, because we cauterized wounds up on this hill.
Oh, you cauterized wounds up on that hill.
That's right.
You're not bleeding up there at all?
That's right.
Because I love the fact that this is what I told you was going to fucking happen at the beginning of the season.
You did. Who did he lose to? Because he was on a huge tear, but he's only on a 1-game streak now. Oh, he lost? Shoot, we got to look this up. Because I remember seeing somebody... Oh, was it Jonesy? Somebody beat him that I was like, oh, that guy beat the Bills, who's been on a tear, who's playing well. I'm going to go check that right now.
Looking.
Okay. And so what I will say about the hill that I'm dying on is I think, if I recall correctly...
Yeah, he lost to Jonesy 24-14.
Yeah. Oh, he kept it a closer game than me. Only by a touchdown. Yeah. But still, I'm sure he played a cleaner game than I did against Jonesy. Either way, what I will say, I think last episode... I altered the hill that I was dying on to I thought that D-Muse would make the playoffs. And we'll check in the race, but he's definitely still in the mix for that. He has to be in the mix for that at 7-7. He might be on the outside looking in, but he's got to at least be in the mix. We'll take a look at that. Either way, I still think D-Muse is going to get to the playoffs. He's definitely not going to win that division, and my God, dude, the Bills are just running it over. You're right, you called it. Credit where it's due. You called it.
Mm-hmm.
He is running that division over, and everybody really that he's playing. So props to him. That's his division. Jets at 7-7. D-Muse, I got faith in you, my guy. You can get to those playoffs, and then you've got the Finns who have dropped 5 in a row now. You can stick a fork in them. That's
fucking harsh, dude. That's hard.
It's brutal.
Not harsh to say. It's just. That fucking sucks, man, to start out
Well, to start out 6-3, and then you drop 5 in a row, 6-3.
Shit
You're
the bed,
feeling good.
5 in a row. That's terrible.
6-3, you're like, okay, I can do this. We're fine. And then you lose 5 games in a row, and it's like, well, never mind. I'm not even gonna make the playoffs now. And then you get the Pats at 4-10.
Yeah, not even a chance.
Yeah, that's another fork in it team. But AFC East is pretty wrapped up. The Bills are going to win that division. The Jets could make the playoffs. The Dolphins, theoretically might still have a chance to make the playoffs, but you lost 5 in a row. You have no momentum.
I don't think the Jets are going to make the playoffs. I think that's
You're
done.
a hater. You're the sniper that's taking aim for me on this hill. You're that dude that's like, the thing about hills is there's no cover.
Pink.
Dink. All right. We can move on then to the AFC West.
One of the only there's only 3 people actually that have locked playoff spots with 2 weeks left.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's or the AFC, yeah, the AFC West. I don't know why I just said West and then it made me type.
I mean, but there's been a mass amount of games played too though, so I guess like that won't update until the next week. That's when it'll really show that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Broncos game buster, man, he's got it locked. He's going to the playoffs. 11-3.
You could say he's busting games. I'm pretty sure I've made that joke on this podcast and it's other 2 episodes already. So I should probably cut myself off.
That is so terrible.
It's so bad that you almost don't hate it. But 11-3.
No, I fucking despise it. That was terrible.
So Buster definitely has it. He's got it in the bag. No question about that. And like offensively, he's doing well with 477.4. But you see the Chiefs there at 9-6. Fink is coming around, and he's got a bunch of points too. He's given up way more points, but Denver wins the division. Now they're looking well. They are potentially looking at the number 1 seed in the AFC. The Broncos are 12-2. They're 11-3. Or no, I'm not the Broncos. I'm sorry, the Ravens. So they're a game back of the Ravens, but they're a game up on the 2 AFC South contenders, the 10-4 teams in the AFC South. So
who does he have left? Do you think he could run it?
Let me check on that.
Realistically, like
could he run the table? This is stupid. Why am I not just doing this on my other monitor with Neon Sports? Wouldn't that be faster? Even if I can't bring it up. So he's
playing. I think he's playing tiny right now. Like
yeah,
as of us recording this.
Ooh man.
I'm gonna go check in.
Live looking. Yo, actually though. I don't know if I'm quick enough to move things around on my shit to set up a window for that. Be cool if I was though. I'm not, but it'd be cool if I was. They are playing right now.
Oh, it's close. It's 28-21. 2 minutes left in the game.
Again, it's Williams. And a gain of 4 gets him right to the midfield
I'm gonna
stripe.
try
We
something.
got a one-score game with inside of 2 minutes remaining. So it's Bronco football as we get your reset here. They're facing a critical 3rd down now as they try to hold on to this lead.
There we go.
Buster's got him.
And he is out of bounds, but not before he's inside the 30. Tell you what, he's been able to put the ball in some tight spots.
Well, now we can just interrupt this entire podcast for this right here. A live look-in. Watch this violate some sort of terms of service.
Right. Yeah, fuck your terms of service.
Fuck him.
Because fuck him, that's why. I'm interested to see. Because,
Yeah.
he's in field goal range now, though. Like, every time he's out of timeouts.
Yeah.
So, like, even stopping him here doesn't really fucking mean anything. Same time, he gets the fucking first down here.
It's 3rd and
Can you
12.
imagine?
Well, if he gets the first down, it's over.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know what the wind looks like. Maybe it's like stupidly strong against him.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's game. That's game.
oh man, he got the
Holy
first
shit,
down.
on 3rd and 12, he busted out that fucking trap.
Those are fucking clean unis too. I like that.
Oh, the all-orange Denver?
Yeah. Oh man, that's tragic.
With Russell Wilson, man, they'd be a team I would consider taking.
I mean, yeah.
We're not gonna throw it here. Just eat up that clock. And if you have the ball, they can't score.
And that's gonna be your game. All right. Well, I went ahead and
Yeah.
removed it.
Okay, no, that was
Um,
fuck it. Hey, that was cool. We were able to do
Yeah.
the live looking.
No,
there.
honestly, I'm you know what? The timing was great too, because I wouldn't have wanted to like put that on the podcast for like 10 minutes of a game or some shit like that. But the last 2 minutes,
Right.
that 3rd and 12,
Perfect.
yeah, maybe he's got a chance. But yeah, no, okay, so now I'm just gonna say I think he will run the table because he plays the Dolphins next week and the Falcons in Week 18. Granted, the Falcons have
Yeah.
looked good, and I think, right? Who's the team that's behind you?
That's the Saints. That's Bloom. But the Falcons beat I mean, I'm gonna hold to the fact I stumbled. I just did not play. I don't know what the fuck, man. I was just off, like off.
Yeah.
But I lost, and you can't hide behind excuses and shit like that. So I
Right.
could say I was off all I fucking want to, but whoo boy, he whooped shit out of me.
All
So
right. So Doc smoked you, and
yeah, in our last
that's-
game, yeah, he
that's
smoked.
who Denver plays. That's who Buster plays in Week 18.
Mhm. I know Doc's the one he's trying to play spoiler. He's trying to fuck up
Yeah,
people's shit.
and he
so
could. So that might be a trick. So Buster is effectively 13-3, or he will be when this updates, and I'm gonna give him 14-3 to beat the Falcons, or I'm sorry, to beat the Dolphins in Week 17. So he's gonna go into Week 18 14-3.
ain't a bad record to have. Only loss is that one to the Chiefs, which
Yeah.
that was on that Hail Mary.
Wait,
Or Hail. That was on the
never
Hail
mind.
Higgins.
He's not gonna be 13-3. It already updated in game. He's 12-3. He was 11-3
Yeah.
when we started this. Never mind. So
He's
I
cool.
assume he'll go into Week 17. I was like, the math is wrong. I assume he'll go into Week 17 13-3. And then it's a question of, can he get to 14-3 in Week 18? And if he can get to 14-3, will that be enough to potentially get the number 1 seed? A whole bunch of crazy shit could happen. If Faz beats Bomber, then you could have 3 teams end 14-3, which would be insane. And then I don't even know, like, obviously head-to-head would be a thing, but if they hadn't played each other, I have no idea what those tiebreakers look like. But that's exciting either way. So, and I guess to round it out, Gouda at 6-8, he's come around a little bit. It's not all terrible. I can't say the same for Q Pierce. His season has just gone completely down the shitter, like, immediately. Well, not immediately, just recently. Started 3-3 and then lost 9 games in a row. So other than that, though, Gouda's at 6-8, probably not going to make the playoffs, especially having dropped 2 in a row. And then Fink, I think, should make the playoffs. He's 9-6. That's a good record.
He was actually my pick to fucking run pretty far.
Yeah. Well, and
I think he's gonna make a good
just put
playoff run.
Who did he beat recently?
Oh, she beat the brakes off of Noobs, man.
Yeah,
He put
that's
up like
right.
50 some on him. That was this week.
That was this week.
He beat the fucking brakes off of him, man.
That's worth going into and looking at the box score, because I remember seeing
The fuck was that score? Yeah, 52-14. Talk about a coasting.
Yeah. Yikes. 52-14. I want to see how bad he made that look. Because that's the talk. It's always the talk. 52-14. Mahomes had a near perfect game.
Jesus.
149.7 rating, 218 in terms of yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Thad Anderson threw for 292 with 1 touchdown and 5 interceptions. That'll do it. I say this as someone that has thrown 5 interceptions way more than once in a game. I've thrown more than 5 interceptions in a game. That will lose you a game. That will get you an ass beating.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Worthy
That's
looked
what
good.
happened when I lost to the Falcons, man. I threw fucking picks left and right.
Yeah.
In the game.
Dude,
I just could
Patrick
not
Mahomes
get out of
had
my own
2
way.
rushing touchdowns, too. My goodness. Pouring it on. DK Metcalf put up 115 yards, but no tutties. So, yeah. No, that was an ass beating. And so, I think Fink I think he makes the playoffs. I think he'll do well in the playoffs, like you had just said. And then the rest of the division is just, it's chalked. So, AFC as a whole, I think it's pretty cut. I think I already said I think it'd be nuts if there was like
It's a
a
hell of a
three-way
division,
tie.
man.
Like
I think I wouldn't be surprised if it fucking happened at this
if
point.
14. I would love to see 3 14 and 3 teams come out of the AFC and just
see how that shakes out
Yep.
seating wise,
Yep.
because that's fucking insane to me.
It is same likewise. All right, so let's go to the NFC North. Ooh.
Yeah, this shit got interesting.
Ooh.
This shit got interesting late, bro.
What a shakeup.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Well, I don't know why it's sorting the wrong way, but if we sort by winning... Oof, Lions. Yikes. R.I.P. CPU.
R.I.P. CP.
If you just sort by winning percentage, then that gives you the correct standings in the division. And Jace Move has moved into first place. Ooh, the Bears they're on a skid. They've dropped 2 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonesy's won 5 in a row. He tore my shit
Packers
up today.
Packers are coming back into it, man. That whole division, like Jonesy's in a spot right now, man, where that dude could either make the playoffs, or he could miss the playoffs. He could also still win his fucking division, which is just wild to me.
Right, because it's that close. I mean, he's 2 games back.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings are a game ahead of the Bears, who are a game ahead of the Packers, with 2 games left to play. So, yeah, that's interesting. I want to look at because this might be the most interesting division that we have, to be honest with you. So I kind of want to take a deeper dive and look at that. So the Packers end the season playing... Jonesy's got a tough schedule. He plays Hive next week. And Hive wants to win. That's a 10-4 Colts team that want to win because they're looking to win their division potentially. And then he's got...
he was just talking about it in chat. I'm kind of keeping an eye on popping in since I don't have to worry. Since all the OBS shit's on your side now, gives me a little more freedom.
Right. You should type some little tidbits in there every once in a while. Be like, hey, we're talking about you. Keep them interested. But yeah, so the Packers, Jonesy plays Hive and Indianapolis in week 17, and then he's got Darkness and the Bears in week 18. So Bears-Packers in week 18 could be insanely impactful. Jonesy won the first game against Darkness. That is the game that started his 5-game winning streak. He had a rough start to the season, Jonesy did, but he's been really strong in the second half. And then the Bears, meanwhile, Darkness will play. He's going to end the season with a forced win against the Lions. That sucks in 17. So Darkness will be 11-5 going into week 18. And then he plays Jonesy in Green Bay. He just lost this week to the Vikings, to Jace Move, who, and Jace Move doesn't have it easy either. So Jace Move goes to play at Buffalo next week.
Ooh.
That's a rough draw for week 17.
That's a really rough draw for week 17.
And in week 18, he's got D-Muse at home. I'm assuming you're going to give that one to him. I think it really depends. Well, I don't know. D-Muse might have a playoff spot to fight for there, and he also might just want to play spoiler. I also don't think you can ever write him off. No matter what you think, if he's going to make the playoffs or not, he's going to play hard. So, Jace Move has a brutal end to the schedule. But he did what he had to do. He split the game. He played the Packers in back-to-back weeks. That's interesting. That's bizarre. Well, there was a bye week in between.
Still, that's just odd scheduling.
Yeah, I don't like that. But he split that series, and he split the series against the Bears too. So he doesn't have an outright tiebreaker against anybody. It's going to come down to division records. If he ties, right? Like, he might not. If he wins out, it's over, right? He controls his own fate, and he's the only team in the NFC North that can say that. So that'll be really interesting. We're going to have to keep our eye on that one. And then the Lions are the CPU. There's nothing to say about them. They're
The
garbage.
NFC North might be like the craziest fucking race to the finish, dude. Like, I'm gonna try to be peeping as many of those games as I fucking can the next few days, at least for these NFC North guys.
Yeah.
Like, because I really interested to see how that race finishes out.
Yeah, same. Also, oh shit, I didn't get a timestamp on when we started the NFC North. Probably less than. Well, we've spent a decent amount of time talking about them. Probably 10 minutes. You think we spent 10 minutes talking about it? I'll go back and look.
Yeah, we'll go back and look on that.
NFC North. If you guys if you see me like looking down on my phone, it's because I'm timestamping something. So what was I gonna say? I don't remember. It's gone now. But either way,
I mean,
really,
final pick. Who do you think gets it? I'm gonna probably run. I'm gonna run with Jay Smooth. I think he's gonna pull it out. I think he's gonna end up winning that division.
I think it's gonna come down to tiebreakers. I also Okay, so I really don't want to. This will be quick, I promise. Who did the Bears Darkness lose to in the last 2 weeks? So he lost to J Smooth, and he got smoked by Lando and the Texans. That game was 52-33.
Wow.
So, man, he looked so good early on in the offense and everything. It looked right. So I was tempted to say I think he's going to win it, even despite the 2-game skid, but it's so close. So the reason that I say this, for me, it's almost even less about like the user and who I think the better user is. Like, he just has an auto win next week. And J Smooth has a brutally hard game that, if I'm being honest, I would pick the Bills in.
Yeah.
Right now, I take Bills over Vikings.
It's
in
fucking
Buffalo.
hard not to. It's
right.
hard not to.
Literally. So, I'm over here, like, and they split. It's gonna come down to like whoever wins. I assume it's just gonna come down to tiebreakers.
Oh, 100%.
So, and at that rate, I have no idea who's winning. Well, I guess you could look. It's gonna start. The first one is division wins, right? Oh, okay, easy then. J Smooth. I do think he will because he's got 4 division wins. Although that's gonna change too because Darkness hasn't played as many division games, so he'll get another division win. And then, I don't know. It's so fucked. I guess J Smooth because he's got the 1-game lead right now. But, like, literally anything could happen in this division, and it wouldn't surprise me. So.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun one to watch the last couple of weeks play out.
Yeah, 100%. Also, heads up to anybody watching the stream, if it gets a little, or the video on the podcast, if it gets a little wonky and, like, we freeze in our frames and stuff, I think it's when I'm like minimizing, there's a window that I have to sort of keep up. It's weird. I don't really understand it. I'll understand it more next time. Sorry about that though if you see us like freeze on the screen. But okay, so NFC North could anybody's ball game at this point, and I love that about that division. Keep an eye on it. That's what I would say. All right, NFC South, you want to lead this one off then? You are our first letter in the standings in the NFC.
Yeah, I've got the NFC locked up right now. I'm gonna drop to the 2nd seed though. I lost this week. Darth won, so that should move him up and bump me down to 2. Either way, I know I'm in. I'm going to the playoffs. I don't mind not having the 1st seed personally too. Like if I don't get it, yeah, does it get you a step ahead and make it easier? Yeah. But then like I don't know, there's that pause. I don't like the pause.
Oh, the bye week, yeah.
So yeah. I don't know. Like I'm confident. I'm confident going into it, even with the loss today, that I can still turn it around and I can get it done. I'll be able to make some noise in the playoffs. I don't think I'll be escorted out my very first game. Saints Bloom King, man, he did an awesome job with that team turning them around. He's like 5-2 since taking them over. Turned it around to 7-8. I think he's still got a very outside chance, but I fucking highly doubt it's going to happen. I think we were talking earlier today, and he said that his remaining 2 games were fucking hard. So, I doubt it. The Falcons, Doc, he's around playing spoiler. He inherited a team that was just busted down and broken and no confidence. And then I know Noel, I think And he said something about being like, yeah, we're ready for the next cycle. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that Panthers team is kind of donezo sitting at 2-13. There's nothing they're going to do. So, I've locked a playoff spot. I don't think anyone else out of my division is going to make the playoffs. I think Bloom put together a really, really good run. I mean, hey, if I don't get an interception and he doesn't call some weird-ass coverage that, I hit Mike Evans over the top, could be a different conversation on whether he's, he could be lurking in a little bit heavier.
Game, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's...
I was back and forth the whole time.
Yeah.
But I think him and Doc and, a lot of those guys, I think they're going to be players moving forward in the next cycle. Like, they're going to be people you're going to be talking about in the playoffs.
Gotcha. So I am... Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say about your division. You've locked it up. You're going to the playoffs. You still are in the mix for the number 1 seed, depending on what happens. But you've secured the playoffs, and that's the big concern. I tried to bet Shane today that you wouldn't get bounced in the first round of the playoffs. And he said, I'll bet you more graphics. And I was like, you're going to make those for us either way. Like, we can't bet that. But he's like, yeah, you're probably right. So I was like, give me a dollar amount. Like, I will bet you cash money he don't get bounced in the first round. Like, you don't, my boy's a dog. Like, he ain't going out in the first round. That's a joke. That's a joke. That is, I will say, that's a hot fucking take. That's as hot of a take as you... That take is like... You came straight out the fucking sun with that take. And you were on meth when you made it.
The whole fucking league has it.
First fucking round. Anyways. That's hey, add it to the list of hills that I'll die on.
Add it to the list of hills he'll die on. I'll fucking take that, man.
I'll say the same thing. So Chris, my brother-in-law, he... I swear to God, he said the best and maybe most accurate thing about me ever. We were talking one day, and I forget what I said, and I was like, hey, you know what, that's a hill I would die on. And he looked me dead in the eyes, and he goes, Joel, there's a whole mountain range of hills that you would die on.
I love Chris, man. That's goddamn wonderful. That's fucking true, too.
It's so true. And I was like,
fucking true.
That's who I am. This is more than, but this is this hill is higher. This hill is higher than the D-Muse hill. Like, in terms of hills that I'll die on.
This, like, D-Muse hill's here. This other hill is up here.
There's no way you lose in the first
round. There's
a
mountain of hills up over there.
Those are that's like a different region, right? We don't talk about all those other mountain ranges.
That's South Zagoria.
Right.
You don't even know what that is. You have no idea what that is. You're like, yeah, right. Yeah. That's a place. Sure. Cool. It's fictional,
I don't know why you'd know or wouldn't. I don't care. Like, this is the shot of tequila I had right before the podcast is just like, yes. Socorro Mountains.
Yes, mountains.
So yeah, there's not a whole lot else to say about the South. It'd be interesting to see the way that things go in terms of seeding the NFC. So you've got the playoffs. We'll see where you end up. The NFC East. Oof. So I've lost. Oh man. Hova, what the fuck are you doing, brother? Like every week, I scroll down.
It's gotten bad.
I think I cursed him because I was like, surely he doesn't lose all of the rest of them. But my brother in Christ. Figure your shit out. 11 in a row? You are better than this. Oh, man. It's again, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. I've had a 2-game skid, which really hurt. I was in a great position to make the playoffs, and here we are.
Yeah, you kind of let it slip away, man. You fucking turned it around. You were gaining ground. You were in it, and...
I was basically a lock to make the playoffs, and now I think I'm on the outside looking in, or it's close.
You are. You are. You're like the next man up, but...
Yeah, but the problem is...
Boy, you better hope the next man gets called up.
Yeah, exactly. You need the next man called up if you're the next man up.
You better...
And next week I play Darth, so that doesn't look great. the first time that I played him, that was a winnable game for me. Like, I didn't win, and I'm trying to say me like I should have won, but like it was close. Like I could have won that game. So
Yeah.
I don't go into playing him thinking like, oh, it's already over.
Well, that's the thing about this league is the fucking parity.
Yeah,
like, especially
right.
in the NFC, man.
Right.
You've got some heavy hitters in the AFC near the top, man, and I'll give them all their credit and all their due. But the NFC is like, it's interesting over here, man. I like being on this side
scrappy.
of it just because it is scrappy, bro. It's scrappier than fuck over here.
Mm-hmm. Lots of mud in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then, or no, I don't have Darth this week. Or
I was gonna say, I thought that was week 18
yeah, it's
that
week
you
18.
played
That's
Darth.
right. But so anyways, Darth. The reason that I kind of cocked my head earlier because I was like, why isn't there a letter next to his name? He's
There's gonna be after the advance. There's no way there isn't.
Right, but why isn't it already there? And even before the advance,
Probably
locked up the division?
Probably because there was 3 games left. Technically, you hadn't played yet. He hadn't played yet. If he would have lost out, you would have won out. You would have met in week 18 with the possibility of playing for the division.
Right.
No, once we advance and we go into next week, he'll have a letter. He'll be the 1 seed.
Yeah.
He's gonna move above me.
That's right. Okay, so he'll get that. Yeah, he'll get that, and he's got the division. He'll have the 1 seed. That'll be what he has to fight for in week 18. And so that's why I assume I'll have a hell of a fight. But frankly, I'm gonna have a hell of a fight next week because even sitting down there at lowly 3-12, Seals has won back-to-back games, and in the game that we played, it was close early. Like I pulled away at the end, but he played me closer. Than
I
I
remember
was
watching that game. Dude. Like, you started slow, and then it was once you figured out he's gonna run that man defense. He's gonna run that zero blitz. You gotta get that bitch out there quick. He's gonna try to sprint around with Parsons.
Yeah.
You can make it work the same way as you can make it work with any of those other guys. You just make them fucking miss.
Right. But so that's who I've got next week, and I'm fighting for my playoff life at this point. I need some help now, but I've got to finish strong.
Fight for my fucking life.
My life.
That's so bad because R. Kelly is such a shit person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did all those.
We talked about
things.
Michael last time. Let's not talk about Kelly this time.
How many other canceled musicians can we talk about on this podcast?
The only difference was he wasn't acquitted. It came in late this time, man. We snuck it in there, but it came in late.
Yeah, and R. Kelly comes in early, but what can I say? So Hova.
On to the fucking
lost 11 games in a row. Sorry, Hova. I don't mean to drag your name through the mud so much, but it's just, I don't know. You started off 4-0, and I was like, all right, this is the guy. I remember I went into that game. I was like, this is the guy I got to beat to win the division. And Darth Dad was like, fucking excuse me, sir. But
I knew Darth Dad was gonna fucking be the one that you guys would have to beat in that division. He's good.
Yeah,
I'll give him his credit.
Yeah,
like I don't know. If I'm gonna do anything in the NFC, I'm gonna have to go through him. So like, it's really time to start.
Yeah, like you said,
Start studying the game film, man. He likes to explain what he's doing. So I'm go in there and listen to Tim talk about what he's doing and see if I can figure it out.
The quality of his streams will be his downfall. Yeah, so
I can hope, man. Like, I know how to study game film. I know how to get a notebook out and fucking write down. Like,
wait, you know how to write?
Readings and writings ain't never done come naturally, but sometimes in specific situations, I had to like physically think about fucking up the word specific to do that. I want you to know that. It's like
proud of you.
Pacific.
And you fucked up fucking it up too.
Yeah. Oh shit, my cat's behind me. He's doing little fucking kitty shit.
Is he doing cat things? Oh shit, I stopped taking timestamps. Fuck, I'm just gonna have to rewatch this. It won't be hard.
It's not gonna be hard to find them. Okay, either way though, the Darth Dad, he's locked up
Yep,
his
he's locked
division.
it up.
It's just not showing it.
He's
Like
the
on
number
our
1 seed
screen
that you
as
have to
of this
contend with
time.
now. Props to Seals for not giving up on his season and winning 2 games in a row. We love to see that. We
And also
love
having a
to see
Twitter
that.
that's active through the night, like
Yes.
into 5 a.m. I have great reading in the morning when I wake up.
It's like Australians on Reddit, right? If you're up late at night, you know that they're posting great Aussie content.
Yes, they are.
All right, the NFC West.
The West.
Holy
Holy shit.
d-
Oh,
Yo,
but
dog, we
the
heard you
nine-
like symmetry.
yeah, for
Symmetry?
Oh my god.
9 and 6,
I
9 and
didn't
6,
even
69.
Nice.
69.
Nice.
I don't even. Jeez. Well, we've got to look at schedules, obviously, because that's going to be huge.
Well, we already know because we've discussed this a couple of times. Doesn't the Seahawks have the tiebreaker, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes, they do.
Don't they?
That's right. Don't they?
But Noobs has given up his
Don't they
Week
stop?
18 game. That's the thing. Because he's going to
That's
Greece, remember?
right.
So Noobs has given up his Week 18 game, I think is what was talked about in chat earlier
Yeah, 'cause
today.
he was-
I think it was talked about on Monday Mayhem before we recorded this.
Yeah, he was talking about he might have to just give up the rest of his games because they didn't want the team. Yeah.
So I think Beans is going to end up taking this fucking division.
Well, but remember though, Bomber was like, no, play your games. Like, we want teams that earned it. So
Yeah. But the question is the advances.
Oh, well, and
is
also
he still gonna be here for
Right.
Week 18 for that game?
And so I guess to that point, if Beans wins out, he wins the division. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Who does he
Unless
have
there's-
to play? Double beans, no rice. Double rice, no beans. Whichever
Double
it
rice,
is.
no beans.
Double rice, no beans.
He hates the beans. Loves the rice.
Fucking hates beans. He
Fuck those
plays
beans.
Fig Newton, who just got slammed by Seals. By the way, if you're curious, that's the game that Seals won this week, and it wasn't close. If you like,
What was the score?
I fucking shit. Let me because I remember.
I
looking
can't
at
even
it.
talk, man. He just beat me in primer. Like,
See, it was 38-17. Like, sheesh. That was an ass beating.
it fucking happens, man. It fucking
does.
happens.
It does. Well, and here's the thing. Like you said, like it's all like it's there's a ton of parity in the league, especially in the NFC. So it's like I talk a lot of shit. I've gotten my ass beat a ton. So if I call something an ass beating, it's never personal. It's like someone could be like, "You got your ass beat." I'm like, "I know. I'd call it that." But like,
I'll be the one to text you back and be like, "Yeah, a lot,
yeah, a lot, more than once.
more than one."
And you know what? That's what I always. And it's been a while since I've had somebody quit in the middle of a game, especially in a sim league. But every time they do, it's just like, man, I've lost games by 40 fucking points at halftime, and I didn't quit. Don't get me wrong, I hated every minute of the second half. I was like, why do I have to be here for this?
Right.
But you play the game.
So,
Man. Dude, it's so, man, this division's nuts. So he plays double run no pass as his PlayStation name is. So he's got Fig Newton on the road at Arizona. That should be a win. It's a 9-16 playing a 6-9 team, but he's on the road. Fig has played well, but just got smoked by the Cowboys. I don't even know, but I give that to Rice.
mm-hmm.
But then he goes and so granted he plays Bloom King, who is he might be fighting for a playoff spot in Week 18. He's also just playing well. Period.
Yeah,
That's not a gimme game. It is in San Francisco.
that's another one of those guys. I don't see them just being like, "Oh, mail it in here."
No. He's gonna try and beat him. Like that's what's Bloom is gonna try and beat Rice. That's all there is to it. So, man, that's insane. So like, Rice might have, so he might win if he beats Fig, but then loses to Bloom, just in a wild scenario, right?
Yeah.
Well, then he still loses, right? Because he lost the tiebreaker. He lost both games. Yeah, that's right. So if they end up tied at the end of the season, it'd be the Seahawks going in. So what Rice really wants to see is he wants to see Doc beat Noobs.
Yeah.
That could happen.
Oh yeah. I expect it to. I'll be honest with you. I expect Doc to smoke him.
Really?
Doc's football smart, man. So I know, like I heard Shane talk about him because it's that little clique. They all know each other. So he plays football, man. So like the same shit like I was taught like when I played football. It's the hat on the hat shit your quarterback's supposed to do. You're running a running play, right? 1, 2, 3. My fucking center's here. Got these guys here, right? All right, you nose tackle. You got one guy lined up over here. Okay, I've got the fucking advantage. This motherfucker's
right here.
exactly, dude. Like he's counting hats. He's fucking lining people up. He's fucking frustrating to play, man.
Yeah.
Like super fucking frustrating. And he will fucking get you. And if he steals momentum and like just takes it away from you, man. I mean, I was just on the fucking raw end of it. So like I fully fucking expect
No lube, huh?
no lube. No, dude, even like my fucking like mid-second quarter of that game, I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna start testing shit because fuck, like at this point, I don't know what the fuck else to do.
Right.
So I expect Doc to win that game.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, that's music to Rice's ears because he has a tough opponent, and then so Rice is looking at like Rice wins out, and then it doesn't matter because it looks like Noobs has the force loss anyways. But Rice has a tough matchup, so if he can afford to go 1-1 and still win the division, he would love to hear that. He'd love to see Noobs have to go 0-2 to finish out the season. But man, that'll be interesting. That'll be a really interesting one to watch, to track. As for the other teams, of course, Fig Newton is one of those teams that's sitting at 6-9. Really, all Fig can do at this point is play spoiler. There was an outside chance, I think, going into this week at 6-8 that if he won out, there was a scenario where he could have snuck into the playoffs. But at 6-9, I don't think that's happening. He's dropped 3 in a row too. You always hate this time of year. You hate to look at that number because you're like, man, at 6-6, if he even, if he wins one of those 3 games or even 2, it's just a much different conversation we're having about him. But you drop 3 in a row in like the beginning of the second half of the season, and
that's when you're sitting at 6-6, that's the time in every year you have to turn it on.
Yeah. Right. And you can't afford to do the opposite, which is what happened.
No. And that's exactly what happened to him. It fell apart.
And then we've got Shane, who's on a one game win streak. He's given up an ungodly amount of points.
Yeah, he's not going to sneak in. Like, it's...
But he's pesky. He's going to be pesky, whoever he plays.
He's pesky.
He doesn't play anybody in his division. So he plays the Seahawks in Week 18, but it sounds like that's a force loss either way for the Seahawks. So... He's gonna play people. He's gonna be pesky. He was pesky when he beat me, and then that's his game. And he's another one that, of course, we know like this season isn't the end all be all. He's gonna be around next cycle.
We'll see. Yeah,
making great content the way that he has this cycle.
Oh,
and
yeah, man.
Honestly, it's getting to the point where it's like, it's hard to not start thinking about like, ooh, where are people gonna end up in the draft? Which team are they gonna get?
Oh, dude,
like...
I've been looking at fucking team ratings in 23 and starting to get my because I'm looking at where I'm sitting draft order wise.
You gotta put your draft board together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a thing.
And that's the sexy thing, man. Is like all I need to end up with a team I really, really want is somebody to just take their favorite team, and even if they don't, I'm not ending up with shit. There's some really good teams that could be there, even at like 11, 12, with young nucleuses at that point to build.
Wouldn't it be nuclei?
I don't know, dude. I just fucking live here. So yeah, Beans is gonna win this division, right?
Hold on. Of all the ways to brush off something, I just live here. Well, no shit, you just live in your own fucking home. Like, what the fuck? What is that shit? I don't know. I just live here.
I do pay money to be doing
You
that.
can do better than that. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. So is my entire family for most of my life. It's fine.
You're numb to it. You don't even care.
Sorry. Nope, not 1 ounce.
Sorry, Mom. That 96, 96, 69, 69. That's the division. Probably, I think if we're going to pick a winner here, I think we're both going Rice. No?
Yeah, Rice.
Just, I mean, it'd be a different conversation if Noobs wasn't going to be out of the fucking country. But, well, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Let's theory craft this real quick and then we'll move on. If he was going to play in Week 18, but you knew he had to play Shane, who you also know is going to be the biggest pain in the ass that he can be, and we also know that there have been some, some kinks in the armor for the Seahawks. Assuming there's no auto loss for the Seahawks in Week 18, who are you taking in this division?
I'm still going to take Beans. And the reason I'm still going to take Beans is I don't think that Noobs will win those 2 games.
Yeah. I think yeah. You've convinced me. I think he loses next week to Doc either way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a foregone fucking conclusion in my mind.
Damn.
He's going to lose to Doc. He's going to lose that Falcons team.
Wow. That's strong words. I like it. Okay, so we're calling the Niners for the NFC West.
The West?
The West. And that does it. So we are done with the divisions. Damn it. It does. We're already almost an hour in. And I swear we never. Well, it's anecdotal shit, right? It's stuff that we get off on small little side tangents.
Little
but
tangents,
I think, but they're
like what we're doing right now.
Right. Wow.
But there was makes this show
I feel
great.
convicted. I'm like, it's just the tangents. It's just these little small things, and you're like, you're fucking doing it again. And I was like, shit. But no,
you're fucking doing it.
Exactly, though. It's what makes this podcast what it is. Makes it special.
100%. That's what makes it is what it is. That's why we're also doing timestamps for you kids.
Right. As far as I'm concerned, now that we're adding timestamps, we've got another hour to fuck around with. Like,
Jesus Christ. Y'all ready to see my wife appear on stream again? Like,
honestly, yes. Oh man, now that's all I want now. is for her to sit down in the chair next to you and passive aggressively stare at you.
You're like, so like, when are we
shit.
going to bed?
Right. She is with not just any child, but your child. So
like, if she starts doing this, it's game over. That's bad.
What does that mean? What does that mean for you?
It's this. She's clapping without the noise. Like,
yikes.
So should we take a look at? Do you want to take a look at the playoff picture from here, man? Do you want to get into some stats real quick? What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
Let's look at the playoff picture. I like that.
Let's do it. I'm gonna let you take it away. You want to take it away? The AFC, NFC side, either way. I gotta grab a beer real quick.
Yeah, we can talk about it. Oh, that's tragic for me as I look at this. Oh no. Wait. I'm doing math in my head, not math. Trigonometry, it's not that at all. I'm trying to figure out in my head now what should happen for me to make the playoffs. Naturally, I'm selfish. I'm just going to make this entire screen about me. Because I'm like, okay, so if Rice wins the division, but Noobs goes 1-1, he's 9-6, that puts him at 10 and whatever. I'm trying to think of the ways that I can get in the playoffs right now. And I think that... So if Noobs goes 1-1 and I go 2-0, we tie. And if he goes 0-2 and I go 1-1, we tie. There's ways. And if he goes he can't go 2-0. Maybe, probably. Sounds like he can't go 2-0. I don't know. Either way, the the playoff picture as we look at it right now. So these rankings are a little off. Once these update, and this is why Neon Sports would be the best thing to look at. But I just think that, and I know that like when I minimize, it stops. You hear me. Does this work maybe? Maybe I can do both now. And, oh yeah, wait. Oh, I think this does it. Yeah. Yeah, that works. Okay, cool. I don't know. I'm learning things on the fly. Sorry that I just wasted the last minute of your guys' lives. But if we look at the like if we go to Neon Sports and look at the playoff picture there, it's going to give us a better actual picture. Although even Neon Sports isn't updated, which is strange. Well, it's just not updated. That's why. Okay, so Neon Sports still thinks that Scott's Buccaneers are 11-3, but they're 11-4. So Dark Data 12-3 will move up to that number 1 seed, and you can't see this right now. I mean, I guess I could probably throw it up there, but we'll do this the next time I record this podcast. I'll make it a little bit more streamlined so that you can look at you can look at this playoff seeding and you can like sort of follow what I'm saying. But in any case, so it'll be the Giants at the number 1 seed, the Bucks at the number 2. Again, if the season ended like today, it'd be the Giants number in the NFC, Giants number 1, Bucks number 2, Bears number 3. Seahawks number 4. Again, we've talked about that ad nauseum, but that's not the way that's going to end up. Vikings at number 5. Well, and that's wrong as well. Like, the Vikings should be number 3 instead of the Bears. So, the Vikings would be 3. The Bears would be 5. Packers 6. Niners 7. And that is your... those are your playoff teams. On the outside looking in, at 8 is myself with the Eagles at 8-7. So we are a game back of the 9-6 Packers and 49ers. Well, tying the Packers does me no good because I lost the head-to-head. So I've got to hope that one of the I mean like I sort of already said, I've got to hope that Seattle goes 0-2.
Yeah, Seattle going 0-2 and him dropping out is going to be the thing that gets you in.
Doc, we basically said it was a foregone conclusion that you were going to beat the Seahawks. I need for that to happen. I also need for New Orleans not to go 2-0 to finish the season because they're at 7-8 right behind me. And if I had to peg it, I would say I'm probably going to go 1-1. I think I'll beat Seals. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion at all, but I think I'll beat Seals, and I think I'll lose to Dark Dad. Again, I don't think that's a foregone conclusion either. But I just think if we're being realistic, I probably finish the season 1-1, which puts me at 9-8, which would need help.
Yep.
In fact, even at that, I don't know if I would win, even if Seattle goes. If I go 2-0, things actually look pretty good for me. So that's what I need to do. And that's what I'm going to try and do, obviously.
I mean, you have to. Like, it's either you win yourself 2 games here, or you're probably not invited to the dance, but hey, you can make great content. We're going to be doing shit throughout the playoffs, obviously.
This is true.
So.
This is true. Whether I make the playoffs or not does not change my interest in the league. So.
Oh, God, no. No, I know. You bought in. I love it. I love it. We resurrected you from the dead.
You fucking got me.
I got you, motherfucker.
And then Arizona technically has an outside look in, but they're not. No 6-9 team is making the playoffs at this point.
No.
The Saints have a real outside chance, but it's still there. They're a game back of me, and it's there. Like, they need more to go right than I do, but it's there for them. It's really going to hinge on the NFC West and what happens there, because those are the teams, again, well, at least for me, and frankly, I don't see the Packers going 0-2 anyways, which is what I would need for me to get past him. But who knows? Crazier things have happened. Stranger things. So, if we go to the NFC side of things, the AFC side of things, Baltimore is sitting at number 1. They have been for a while. I think there was that weird period where Faz hadn't lost yet, and then Bomber dropped a game, but then Faz
Isn't
lost.
it plausible? It's still plausible though that the Broncos could end up the 1 seed, right?
Yes. So
like
again,
if Faz beats Bomber tomorrow,
yeah,
6 o'clock.
that's right.
Tune in.
6 o'clock tomorrow, Tuesday. Well, later today for us technically, but and for when anyone's gonna listen to this, later today, later this evening. Yeah, like we said, this is that weird scenario where we could totally see a bunch of, well, we said 14-3. That can't happen for the Jaguars. The best they can do is 13-4. Is that what he said though? 13-4. I don't even fucking know. What I do know is this, or no, because there's games yet to be played. It gets so wonky when there's just like a couple.
13-4 would be the final record if he's got 4 losses. If he were to
Right.
win
And so 13-4 could be theoretically, well, so if he wins, so let's say Faz beats Bomber, that would put and Buster still has to play there. No, he has played. It just hasn't updated on the website. Okay, so Buster is actually 12-3. I'm looking at the website. It hasn't updated yet. So he's 12-3. He's already played his game and won. If Faz can beat Bomber, then Buster and Bomber are tied at 12-3 at the top there, and that puts Faz just a game back of both of them at 11-4. So that's as tight as they come. And then you've got Buffalo and Indianapolis are both sitting at 10-4 as well. So the AFC North is just a logjam of records. Or the AFC generally, I'm sorry, is just a log jam of like 1 through 5. Literally, the 1 through 5 is separated by 2 games.
That's fucking nuts.
That's and it's not because the top teams are
tomorrow.
bad.
There'll be 2 games left in our season too, so it's like
right. But I'm like, it's not even that separation is not because the number 1 team is having like an okay or a good but not great season. It's that so many teams are having good to great seasons. So, yeah, and then there's a little bit of a dip. Then the 6 is Cleveland at 8-6, although that'll change around. They'll swap places.
He's 9-6.
He's 9-6
now because he beat me today.
Yeah, that's right. So he's 9-6. Cleveland is 9-6. D-Muse is sitting at the 8th spot at 7-7. That's gonna be tough.
This fucking guy.
That's
this fucking guy over here.
It's tough. He needs a lot. He needs to win out, and even then, I think he needs help. Although it'll depend. Well, yeah, he needs help for sure.
Go ahead and die on that hill
He needs either the Browns or the Chiefs.
Nobody
to
coming
lose
to
out.
revive
Shut
your
the
ass.
fuck up and let me talk. He needs either the Browns or the Chiefs to lose out, and he needs to win out. That's probably not happening. And then below him in the playoff race on the website, this needs to be updated because these teams can't get there anymore. But the Raiders and Dolphins at 6-8, according to the website, are still in the hunt, but they are officially eliminated now because there is even if the Browns and Chiefs both lost out, they would still have better records. So
yeah, there's no way for them to sneak.
I say that. I guess technically no. Because if they lost out, they would have 8 losses, same as with it, but it's not going to happen. Doesn't even matter. Don't need to talk about it. So that's your playoff picture as of right now. It looks this is all you want at the end of the season is good tight races in divisions, in playoff runs, things like that. That's all you really want at the end of the season, and we've got them. The Shadow Realm has them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, it's because we have parity in this league,
yes.
like across all fucking levels, man. Like,
yeah,
there's a couple really, really good guys that are gonna be there every year, man. But like the rest of it's like just a fucking dogfight.
Yes, sir.
Fight at all times, like who's gonna make it, who's gonna end up being there. So I mean, like looking at it as it stands now, how much movement do you think there'll be? I don't think there's gonna be too crazy much. I think Noobs is going to end up slipping out.
Of the playoffs altogether?
There's that extreme chance, isn't there? Or because he can end up
as, like, extreme. I mean, he's He's a game better than me. So if he goes 0-2 and I go 1-1, we tie, and then I don't know what the tiebreakers look like. We haven't played each other, so it probably goes to division record. And I don't know what mine looks like. Mine should actually be pretty good. Mine should actually be really good. Because, well, assuming I beat the Cowboys, I would be 4-2 in my division. Assuming I lose to Darth Dad. So, that's not terrible. Although, he might have a better division record than me. I don't know who he's lost to in his division. I know it's not Rice. So, either way, if the Seahawks falls out of the playoffs, and I think that is, I'm with you though, I think that is the biggest likely movement, probably across both conferences. It really, man, so much hinges on the Seahawks now. It sucks so hard that he's going to be out of town for week 18.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, man. But, like Bomber said, you want teams in that earned it one way or the other. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. And who knows? If Bloom gets and stays hot, he's got an outside chance, but he could get there. So, I think if there's going to be movement, it'll be Seattle dropping out. And, like, crazier shit has happened. Like, what if Jonesy drops his next 2 games?
Well, that's the other thing. If Jonesy drops, he could fucking. That's the race. The NFC North one, man. That's it. I know we talked about this. We talked about fucking divisions. They're time stamped, yada yada.
Right.
That's the one, man. Because like
it's so close.
This can flip. He could move up. Like all this shit generally could fucking change very easily.
Jonesy's been playing well, but I'll say it again. He plays Hive next week. That's not a gimme at all. And these are both on the road. He plays Hive next week, and he's got Darkness and the Bears in week 18. Both on the road. And I know that Darkness has slipped a couple games, but that's a game that Darkness might be playing for the division, for playoff seeding, for the playoffs at all. Like, we all have games that are tough coming up, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so
I feel like the AFC is way more cemented. Like, and it's, you know, he keeps going back to the same thing. It's echoed on, I swear to God, every piece of content for this league, but it's because it's fucking true. Is there's the NFC is just so much more wide open.
Agreed. All right, do we want to run down some team stats now?
Yeah, we can take a look at some stuff, kind of see. I'm always interested, especially at this point in the year, because at this point in the year, you really have a good idea, you know what I mean, of like who's doing what, who's really had statistically a good defense for that year, who's really had a statistically, because like we look at this shit at like, you know, week 4, week 5. It's like, well, you know, I played this dude and it's early and this team doesn't have confidence. Blah, blah, blah,
when you have anomaly games too, right?
Exactly. You know, you have 38-0 straight sims, correct? I was you didn't bring it up.
You brought it up, not me.
Yeah. I'll take the fucking blame on that one. It's fine.
Fucking, and somehow Shane will still let me not hear the end of it. Like, every time. Like, motherfucker, I didn't even bring it up this time. Like, I didn't say shit.
You may not have brought it up, but I will fucking bring it up for you, my friend.
All right, well, let's go ahead and just timestamp an hour and 13 minutes when J-Dog started talking about the 38-0 win, because that's going to be its own segment.
Should you go back and tag that 1 minute of everyone's time you wasted?
Yeah.
Tag it real quick. Here's a minute of your life
off.
you'll never get back to sink and skip.
I should. I will. I'll figure it out. Shit. Fuck off. But yeah, so to your point though, it's exactly that. Like early on, you can look at stats and it's fun to see who's doing what, but there's just these random one-off games that throw everything out of whack. Whereas once we get into like week 15, 16, 17, 18, you have a body of work that you can look at, and there will be outliers, but that isn't going to. Usually, it's not going to change your season. So you can look at stats, and they're a little more trustworthy this late in the season. And I think we talked about this the last time. I really hate using offensive or defensive yards Like, I just hate looking at or caring about them.
No, you got to go by like.
I mean, it's really just points per game and then points for and points against. Like, that's just me. That's just me. But I'm like, I don't really care if you got a gajillion yards if you don't convert those yards into touchdowns, right? Nobody cares about an offense that gets into the red zone every time and then gets stopped and kicks field goals. That's a bad offense. You might have a ton of yards, but you're bad at offense. I would know. It happens to me all the time. Like, the point is, you want...
I would know. This applies to me.
Right. I feel personally attacked by my own sentence. Like, it's the way it is. But, so we can look at that stuff, but again, I don't put a ton of stock into it. But you know what? I'm going to grab another beer anyways, so I'll let you start off wherever you want to on stats. And I'll just pick it up from wherever you're going.
I mean, fuck it. If we want to look at it that way, like I'll.
No, man. I mean, like this is your show. And when I sit back down in this chair, whatever direction you've chosen to go is the one that I will go. Okay.
So we'll start out with the points per game. Honestly, it makes sense. This is no surprise here. The Bills have had the hottest offense in the league. He's like over 500 something fucking points now. Yeah, 37.1 a game. Bombers right behind him, though. It's only like 3-point difference right there. Less than, right around that area. The Broncos, Buster, man, 33.7. The Bears, 33.5. Giants, 31.9. Bucks, 31.7. Chiefs, 31.1. Jags, 29.4. But I feel like that's fucking skewed be up from 4 losses in a row. That could change that around for sure.
For sure.
I do like to look at how you're getting your shit. You know, to me that's always interesting, you know, to see who does what. So like the passing touchdowns, Darkness is leading it. Fucking Justin Fields has thrown 48 fucking touchdowns, dude.
That's insane. He's having a good year.
The Bears fan in me is like, for real, Daddy? Like, for real? Please
actually
please, like, actually let that happen. Because fuck my life. I've thrown 40. Bills have thrown 39. 36 for the Seahawks. 35 for the Chiefs. 33 for the Texans, though, at 7-8. But he's only rushed for 10. Like, that's kind of killer right there.
The Seahawks have only rushed for 13, so...
That's true. True, if you're looking at the rushing touchdowns, man, that's the Browns. Like, he's 30. 29 for the Broncos. He's still up there. He's thrown 31 too. So like that's a really good fucking split.
Well, that's why he's got like there. Like a top 5 scoring offense, right? Yeah.
Yes, he does. No, 100%. He's third in points per game right now.
You know what's stupid though? Look at that. Like he's exactly 1 point behind the Ravens. He's thrown 1 less touchdown passing, but he's run for 7 more. Mm-hmm. And he's only averaging 1 point. So like Bomber must be getting some defensive points out the ass. Like think about that. So that's a difference of like six. No, but I mean seriously, that's 6 touchdowns. That's a 6 touchdown difference on offense. Like so Buster has 6 more touchdowns than Bomber does, but he's averaging 1 point less per game. So that has to be made up for in defensive touchdowns.
It's the only way I could think of that.
Or no, the other thing could be if they have. Oh no, because Bomber hasn't played yet. That's right. Buster's played. Buster's played his game. Bomber has not. So that's why the points.
That's the difference right there.
Never mind. All right, Madden coding team. I'll let you off the hook this time.
We done figured it out, boss.
We did it, boys. Another mystery solved by the Hardy
Boys.
Boys.
Boys. Back to prospecting.
What?
Dark Dad's another one of those guys, man, with that kind of split. 31 passing touchdown, 27 rushing.
What?
Oh, no, I'm just looking at the passing touchdown, the rushing touchdown, like the splits. And for, like, top scoring offenses, like...
Oh!
The Broncos,
wait, no,
Dark Dad's another...
You said Darth Dad. Or Dark Dad?
Darth.
Darth.
D-A...
Yeah.
I loved you. You were my brother. Yeah, that one.
I don't see. He's not at 31 on my screen.
31.9 a game, 31 passing touchdowns, 27 rushing. I said it was a very similar to fucking what the
so
Broncos were
hold
doing
on.
offensively.
This is why I don't like that I'm recording this, because they are gonna roast the shit out of me. I bumped my controller and it sorted by AFC. So I just went up and down this list, like, I don't know, 5 fucking times. Like, where are the Giants? I don't even see them. It's because we're sorting by AFC teams. So, if we fix that and go by the whole NFL. Yes, Darth Dad has thrown 31 touchdowns. Jesus, dude, I was looking for it. And I'm like, why the fuck can't I find the Giants right
now? Let's get on to the defense. Jesus Christ.
Are you sure? Because, like, the way that you talked about the offense, I should probably start talking about the defense. And now we're good. We're fine. I just, again, bumped my controller, did not realize that. And then I was like, this also doesn't seem like 32 teams that I'm scrolling through. What the hell's going on? There it was. Defense. Okay, so I sort of weight defensive yards a little more than offensive yards, but that's weird for the same reason that, like, bend don't break defense is a real thing and it can work. So, like, you might give up a bunch of yards, but if you're holding them to field goals and not giving up touchdowns, that's a good thing. So, like, I guess we won't talk about that. We can just sort by the things that matter, like points allowed. If you sort by most, like, holy balls, the Panthers and Cowboys are tied with a lot of points given up. And the Rams. Shane, what are you doing? Brother, 494 points against. That's a lot. What's interesting to me is that the Cowboys are doing that with 27 sacks as well. And that's not, like, at the top, but it's, like, middle of the pack. So, getting pressure, just still giving up lots of points. Bomber has the best... Oh, and this is what I like. Oh. Defensive touchdowns aren't accounted for. I'm going to go in and just sort by his player stats because I want to know. Again, talking about that point. Well, and also he hasn't played the game, but still. Points, Bomber has the best defense, just straight up, for points given up. He probably also has the best defense in yards. He does. By about 400. So he isn't giving up a ton of yards. He's also certainly not giving up a ton of points. The Bills are second in defensive points allowed, which is nuts because he also has a really good offense. So it's like that's just a scary person to play, period. He's not going to give up many points, and he's just going to absolutely run you over. So that's...
Yep.
Yeah,
he's going to light up that scoreboard and leave you sitting there like, wish I could.
I wonder what happened.
Yeah, I wonder what happened.
And I like the sack numbers, too. You know, the Ravens have 29. The Bills have 32. Jay's moving the Vikings are third in points given up with 301. These interception totals are insane as well. Like, that's how you don't give up points. You have 35 interceptions. I saw down here, the Texans have 38 picks. Lando.
Bro, he is 7-8, and I wish he was here talking to us right now. Not for lack of fucking trying, man.
38 interceptions. I'm pretty sure that's the best in the league.
It is. It 100% is. The Broncos are right behind him. 37. Ravens have 35, 32 for Hova, 32 for the Bills, 30 for the Vikings.
Hova's got 30. He's what, like, fifth in interceptions and has lost 11 games in a row. This shit does not add up. He's given up a ton of points.
He gives them right back. I bet you if you look at it.
Yeah, probably.
Turnovers, gives them right back.
That to me that's 30. That's a lot of interceptions. Anything above 30 at this point, like for team interceptions, that's good shit. Fumble recoveries. This is like, it's one of the luckiest fucking stats. Like, so this is almost like a, how much luck have you had this year? Like, when I see, because who was I even looking at earlier? I don't remember if it might have even been earlier in this podcast. Fuck, concussions are a bitch. But I was looking at somebody, it was a game that I was like, wow, this was a blowout. No, it was actually in preparation for the podcast. And I don't prep for this podcast ever. But I was just in the league earlier, and I was like, I'm going to just look at a couple things. And I was like, wow, that game had a big spread that I wasn't expecting. Let me look at the stats. I don't remember who the teams were. But I remember the first thing comes up, it was like a 20-plus point difference in score. And the like passing numbers were like a little bit sloppy for both teams. And I was like, okay, no stark difference there. Rushing numbers, same thing. I'm like, so why was this game a blowout? The user had thrown 2 interceptions. I think the losing user had thrown 2 interceptions, and also I think it was Rice had 3 fumbles. No, not Rice. It was the game when Seals smoked the shit out of Newton. I looked. Murray threw 2 picks, and then he had 3 fumbles given up. Like, that is
fuck.
just so. And there you go, 9 fumble recoveries for Seals. 3 of those he got last week. Like, if not for last week, he's way down on this list. But the point being, I'm just like, damn, that feels so bad. Because so many times fumbles are just something that you basically have no control over. Like, it's like, okay, cool. I fumbled the ball. What was I supposed to realistically do there? And then the other guy gets it, and you're like, that's rough. So, fumble recoveries, that's like a luck stat as far as I'm concerned. For what it's worth, Rice is, tied for second with 8, so he's been on a good... I'm not saying there's never skill involved.
You get like one of them dudes with strip specialist and shit, it does like... If I have one of those guys and I will hit an R1 with him.
Sure.
Will more have way better chance. There's certain people, you know what I mean? But I feel like you have to have one of those guys to have it be a consistent thing.
Or you just big hit every play and get lucky fumbles that way.
Sure.
Like, I mean, that's the shit that happened to me against the Packers. Jonesy. I got big hit on a kick return. And I was like, okay. Like, what am I, like, okay. That's all you can say at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so fumbles, the pick numbers though, that's insane. Lando, again, like you said, not for lack of trying. 38 picks. Hats off to you, sir. For sacks, the 49ers, Double Rice is up there. He leads the league with 35. Tiny with the Titans has 32. The Bills have 32. I'm tied for the next spot with the Chiefs at 31. My Eagles. The Cardinals have 30. Ravens have 29. Your Bucks have 29. There's a lot of... And then it just clumps up, 29. Several teams are tied at 28. Several teams are tied at 27, 25, 24. Who's not getting any sacks? Oh, the Lions are actually high. Like, I passed the Lions. I expected them to see them at the bottom. Gouda's Raiders are tied with D-Muse with only 16 sacks. And not many interceptions. So defensively, they're just not... And they're giving up a lot of points. So...
Yeah. Well, that...
If you're not sacking the quarterback and you're not picking off the ball, you're probably going to give up a lot of points.
You're probably going to have a bad time.
Yeah, so that's our defenses. Do you want to do you have anything more on the defenses before we do something else?
Not specifically, man. Honestly, I feel like that was pretty well covered for what I like to look at for it too.
Yeah.
I mean, like the passing yards one is cool, but like, I mean, some of those teams, they get big leads and you got people just winging it on them is a big part of that as well, I think.
Right. Inflated stats are just going to happen if you're looking at yards.
Mm-hmm.
Touchdowns, again. Touchdowns and turnovers. Like, that's what actually wins and loses games. Like, you could have a gajillion yards. Like, we went over it earlier. Patrick Mahomes in the game that we talked about earlier had a 149-point-something quarterback rating. He only threw 2 touchdowns, right? He only threw for 218 yards, but he threw no interceptions. Like, he only threw for 218 yards, but he had an amazing day because he threw for 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He ran for 2, and his running backs each got like 1 or something like that. He set up his offense to execute in other ways. So, like, it does not matter if you have a gajillion yards if you're not executing and turning those yards into points. And realistically touchdowns rather than field goals. So what do you say? You wanna just quickly breeze through awards?
Yeah, we can take a quick look at it real quick.
Take a quick look at it real quick.
Take a quick look at it.
We're gonna take a quick look real quick. Yo, dog, we heard you like quick looks.
Yeah, so we're gonna take one real quickly.
MVP Jonathan Taylor. We skipped it last week because it hadn't changed, and it sort of feels the same. I don't see any of these names here that I didn't see before.
It's not gonna change. He's got like 2,200 some fucking yards and like ungodly amount of touchdowns. It's Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even surprised.
Right. Nobody should be. Chubb is in Nick Chubb is in number 2. Saquon Barkley is 3. Javonte Williams is 4. Lamar Jackson is 5. So Lamar
5.
Jackson may have moved up, but it doesn't matter. That's Jonathan Taylor's award to lose, and he's not going to.
Yeah, there's no way he's not going to end up getting it. Like, when it's all said and done, there's absolutely zero way.
Similarly, you see literally no change except the one NFC player isn't involved in AFC Offensive Player of the Year. It just goes down the same way. Jonathan Taylor's going to win that award, and he should. Defensive Player of the Year, here's where we get to actually see some change. So Trey Hendrickson, I don't remember seeing his name here before.
My man, Trey Hendrickson. I had him in primer, man. 24 sacks in a season. That shit was insane.
Yeah. Well, he looks like he's fucking on his way. Desmond King II, probably responsible for several of the 38 interceptions that Lando
I would
and the
have
Texans
to imagine. I'd have to imagine with how high up he is on that list.
Yeah.
Justin Simmons right behind him, but the Broncos were like the second one on that list as well for the interceptions.
That's
I
right.
believe.
So there you go. DeForest Buckner is number 4, and then Shaquem Griffin. So the Broncos feature 2 players in the top 5 for Defensive Player of the Year. Love to see that. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Alex Worthy. I think he was there. I think he's been there.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bills now have 3 players in the top 5. 2, 3, and 4 are all Bills rookies. Damn, dude.
That's fucking insane.
Rookies that are 80, 77, and 75 overall.
Talk about nailing your fucking draft.
Well, and of course, I'm sure they've improved with dev upgrades and stuff, but still, or not even dev upgrades, but just the player upgrades, but still.
Well, yeah,
agreed.
of course. But still, like, that's insane.
Well, especially, like, you know what? Serious hats off to the Bills and their draft, because you go into it knowing it's the last draft. There's no point in going for a guy that's going to take a year to develop, because there isn't a year 2 for him, right? These rookies have 1 season. And he drafted 3 rookies. He drafted 3 players that contributed solidly to their teams. So that was the point. And I think it'd be hard to argue against him having the best draft.
Yeah.
That
would.
Because he's going to have, I think he's got defensive rookies too. I don't even know. And then Cody Carney for the Colts rounds that out.
Speaking of defensive rookies, he definitely does. He has one.
He does. And Warren Nails was number
still.
1 for a while. I know that. He was last time. So
his nails.
Yeah. And he's got another guy, Danny Singleton. Yeah. Bills won the draft last year. Anybody else that wants to argue against that, you're a fucking moron. Got real aggressive there. I felt the need. Andrew Rochester, though.
Jesus.
Andrew Rochester. I don't remember that name from the last time. I'm sure he was there. I remember Warren Nails. Rochester, though, coming up there again, man. That's a... Fuck. Lando. I'm so upset that you weren't on this podcast, because there's so many times when there would have been amazing spots to be like, tell us why. But Andrew Rochester, and again, it's so Rookie of the Year, Andrew Rochester, just based off of looking at his player picture, those broad ass shoulders, and his name, sounds like a linebacker, right?
I mean, I'll go fucking look it up.
But guess. Look it up.
Yeah, it sounds like. No, I'm gonna say it's a safety.
Okay.
Playing the fucking Jeopardy music. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. Actually, no. I'm never serious. But yes, that is Jeopardy music.
Surely you can't be serious. I am. Don't call me Shirley.
Mm.
He's a free safety.
You slut. You called it safety. Well, what did you say, though? Did you say safety or strong safety?
I said safety. I just said safety. I didn't say which.
Kept it generic. Covered your bases. I like that.
Yep.
So then
Well,
I
then
assume
that-
he's probably got some picks, too.
So like when Karen goes, 550, you go 501.
Exactly. Big brain. We're not. This is like the most stupid amount of time we've spent on anything like this. Like I'm like, damn, it's been probably 2 minutes, and we haven't even gotten to the third defensive rookie of the year in the AFC, which is Bradley Johnston. Love that name, by the way, Johnston, because it's not
Best
Johnson.
best name of the top 5.
Oh, for sure.
Best name.
Johnson is just too easy. Johnston, it's like you add that T in there, man, that's got some pop to it. That's how you know you don't fuck with this guy. You don't fuck with Bradley Johnston. You might fuck with Bradley Johnson. Fuck that guy. Bradley Johnston? No, man. You don't fuck with
Bradley Johnson, fuck you.
So, and there's definitely a Bradley Johnson in the world. He just woke up like, what?
It's like, some guy's filming a podcast in rural Illinois and Tennessee just told me to go fuck myself.
It's going to be watched by 12 people at most. George Carden, that's a pretty solid name too. He's number 4 with the Tiny and the Titans. And then Derek Phillips with the Jags, a very successful Jags team. He's sitting at number 5. All right, you want to take it over for best QB?
Best QB, Lamar Jackson, no surprise there. I mean, Josh Allen's hot in tow, but Lamar's going to end up winning that. Like, that doesn't surprise me.
Josh
Patrick
Allen's
Mahomes-
hot in tow. That just almost sounds like a dough and heat or some shit like that. Like, Josh Allen's really got a hard on for Lamar Jackson.
That's fucking crazy. So Patrick Mahomes, man, being at third, especially with them starting 0-5, man, that just shows, the kind of run he's been on.
I fucking
Here's one that'll
forgot that
give
they
you a-
started 0-5. Like,
Here's one that'll give you a boner and excite the Cougars. D-Muse's Zach Wilson comes in at number 4 on the list for best QB in the AFC.
I
So,
would
like,
say, ladies, he's available, but it's not just for any ladies. Hide your moms.
And Derek Carr's coming in at number 5. Cool.
Honorable mention to Tua. He's number 6. Who would have guessed that?
Sure. If we're doing that, here's an honorable mention to Lawrence and Russell
Shut the
Wilson.
fuck
And
up.
listen, after 3, I don't care. They're not going to get it.
Title of your sex tape.
Not the best running back, you weird fucker. You got the Colts, Jonathan Taylor. There's obviously no surprise there. He's gonna win the MVP. He's gonna win the best offensive player of the year in the AFC.
But it would be some Madden shit for him not to be the best running back. He'd be leading in MVP and offensive player of the year, but he'd be
right.
like
But
behind
Nick
Chubb.
Chubb's like just right. I mean, honestly, your top 3 here are your top 3 for MVP vote.
Yeah.
So
No, is
you know.
Javonte 3rd? I thought he was 4th.
I thought he was
Somebody in the No, I'll look. Somebody in the NFC. It's Saquon. Saquon is 3rd.
Oh, okay.
Anyways,
So
I
you're
did-
1, 2, and 4.
right. Pretty straight up. Derrick Henry. It's a little surprising to see him so far down. Also, there's a lot of 99s. Holy shit. Henry, Taylor, and Chubb.
I mean, the running game has been strong in the last 2 years, man. It's not that hard to develop a back into something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the team I had early on in the cycle year before we found these leagues where I had KC and I turned CEH into a monster where you got freight train and all that shit.
Yeah, I try not to think about that.
God, that was disgusting.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire with Freight Train was just the thing of nightmares.
So then you got best wide receiver Tyreek Hill. I mean, there's no surprise there, dude.
Kareem
I've had,
Hunt.
like,
Kareem Hunt is 5th for best running back. I don't think we mentioned his name. Demi, shout out.
okay, woo, Kareem. Woo.
Tyreek Hill on the 6 and 8 Dolphins is the number 1 wide receiver. How do you feel about that?
He might be the number 1 receiver, but he's not the number 1 receiver in the league in yards.
That sounds as though one of your receivers is number 1 in yards.
Fucking Mike Evans, baby. He might be the top receiver in the AFC, but he's not the top receiver in the league. That goes to Mike, dude.
Hey, yo. All right, we'll talk about it. Marquise Brown, number 2.
I mean, hey, it's at least Bomber could make it work because they couldn't make that work in real life. That's why they shipped him off to Arizona.
Right. And you couldn't make it work a couple Maddens ago, and I couldn't really make it work. Well, it was the last Madden. Neither of us could make it work with him.
I couldn't make it work. I talked last podcast why I couldn't make it work with Lamar, man. It's just like the timer.
Yeah.
The timer in my head.
No,
got way too short.
Marquise. This is what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
I
wasn't seeing the field. I was fucking like one read and scrambling.
Well, yeah.
Like, I was fucking, yeah.
Wait, hold on, though. We're not talking about scrambling. We're talking about Marquise Brown, the wide receiver.
Yeah, but if you're not making reads, you're not going to find the guy open.
Okay, fair. Okay, fair. So what you're saying is it's...
We've come all the way back around.
Right, but you know what? Fuck right off. Because we're talking about Marquise Brown, and you're like, yeah, we talked about Lamar last time. And I'm like, no, we're talking about Marquise. And I'm like, no, but we talked about Lamar. And I'm like... So yes, if you get trigger happy with the run, you're not going to throw to your receivers, no matter who they are, even if they're Marquise Brown. The thing that I struggled with, and I think we both talked about this, and maybe we did on the last podcast as well, but I know we both talked about it together, is like, the other thing about Marquise Brown is, it's the same thing with, in my opinion, in real life, with, like, Rodgers throwing to Devontae Adams, where it's like, he's just so good. Like, he's always open, right? Like, so you just, oh shit, single coverage on the sideline, or at least it looks that way. I'm just going to throw a fly route, because of course he's going to run past that guy and win. He's Marquise Brown. He's just that good. And then you end up getting yourself into trouble, because he's not that good in Madden. Like, he's good, but, like, it's easy to misuse him. Which, obviously, Bomber is not, because he's the second wide receiver for the AFC. Fucking... There we go. And this is one of the offensive rookies of the year. Alex McCullers is third for best wide receiver, above his teammate Stephon Diggs, who is fourth. What are they feeding those boys in Buffalo? They're doing well. And then speaking of the devil,
HGH and meth.
could you imagine? You imagine Stephon Diggs on methamphetamines? Like, Devontae Adams is fifth on that list. Speaking of the devil. And yeah, that rounds out your top 5 for the AFC for wide receivers. Best offensive line. These are the guys that are grinding. These are the guys that deserve it. Quentin Nelson, who's a 99 overall in this game, who is the best offensive lineman in the AFC, but is not the best interior guard in Madden 23, which is a fucking joke. And that is, I feel like, what our first true off-season podcast is going to be about. Is going to be talking about rosters and player ratings.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because they've been talking about it. We've been talking about it in chat. Everybody knows. They did Quentin Nelson dirty in Madden 23. But that's a subject for a different podcast. Nelson is number 1. Deservedly so. Ronnie Stanley's up there. These are names that, like, you look, maybe with the exception of Rodney Hudson being above a guy like Teron Armstead, at the top, these are names that you just expect to see up there. So Nelson Stanley, Wyatt Teller is 3, Rodney Hudson is 4, playing out of his mind, and Brandon Scherff. And, like, none of those guys are bad. So seeing any of them in the top 5 for best offensive line, that's not a surprise.
No, not whatsoever.
Best defensive lineman, Trey Hendrickson. There's that guy again. Of course, given his ranking earlier in Defensive Player of the Year, you'd expect to see him at least at close to the top for defensive lineman. But he is number 1, with DeForest Buckner at 2, Jeffrey Simmons at 3, Myles Garrett at 4, AJ Epinesa? Yeah. Right?
Vanessa, yeah, I'm assuming.
At 5, beating out Von Miller outside the top 5. But yeah, I mean, that's that's like where Myles Garrett lives.
DeForest Buckner, man. DeForest Buckner makes the Colts a really sexy pick in Madden in 23, at least to me.
He does.
Like having Jonathan Taylor and him. The
Oh,
only
yeah.
thing is you got to figure out the quarterback situation going forward. 'cause
That's
you got
fine.
Matt Ryan.
That's an easy fix if you've got like the offensive line and defensive line that the Colts have.
Mhm.
Whatever. You can figure, like, no doubt quarterback is the most important position. But it's like there's only one of those, right? If you get your quarterback, you're good. You need 5 offensive linemen. You need 7 defensive, like, front men, whether you run a 4-3 or a 3-4. You need a front for defense. So if you can get a team that's, like, well off on either one of those areas, like, or like, both, maybe, it's like, I'll figure out the fucking quarterback. I can make that shit work. Yeah. And they've got Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, the Colts are definitely a sexy pick in 23. Myles Garrett, though, as I was saying, that just kind of feels like where he ends up every single Madden cycle since he's been good. About around 4th for best defensive lineman. He's always there. He's never not there. He's never higher. Like, it's just, it's where as a 99 overall defensive lineman he sits.
That's another team if I get my hands on them. Ooh, boy.
You
give me
to do
Myles
that?
Garrett.
Give you Deshaun Watson, you fucking monster. Oh, you're thinking things you're not saying. It's Madden, right? There are no crimes in Madden.
In the video game.
They took off the field issues away long ago in Madden. But they used to be a thing.
Yes, they did. I remember in the NCAA games, dude, your like punter would steal a laptop and you'd have to be like, the fuck?
And then you don't have a punter and you're like, that's not that big of a deal. And then you play a really close conference game and you're like, oh shit. Not having a punter here actually does hurt. All right, best linebacker. Back-to-back fucking Jaguars. You're wondering, like, where are these players getting awards? The team is doing so well. It's the linebackers. Josh Allen and that guy. I'm not doing myself the disservice of trying to pronounce that.
Oluokun, I'm gonna guess.
Oluokun, yeah.
Foyesade Oluokun.
Foyesade Oluokun. There you go. You're done. It's good.
There you go.
Moving on. Shaquem Griffin. The fuck the linebackers in the AFC. Jeremiah Owusu Koromo.
Yeah,
Owusu.
I'm gonna guess.
It's
Owusu Koromo.
Matthew Judon, who I only know because I've heard the name a lot.
He threw a touchdown. I saw a clip of him throwing a touchdown.
Throw a touchdown. What is fucking happening in the league? I like the overalls, though. 89, 85, 75 overall. Shaquem Griffin's making it work. 84, 85. No one over a 90. No one at 90 or over for best linebacker. You can't say that in the top 5 of any other position we've gone over so far.
No.
Best defensive back, Justin Simmons is up there. Desmond King is up there, of course. Holy shit. You wondered why the Texans had so many interceptions. It's because they have 3 defensive backs in the top 5. So it goes King, Collins. 2 safeties, too.
Mm-hmm.
Don't throw deep against the Texans. If you play them in the last 2 weeks, they are waiting for that shit. And then Warren Nails. Man, how far he's fallen. I swear he was higher up on the lists. But he runs out of 5, and he's a rookie, so, I mean, it's fine. But he's still behind Andrew Rochester.
Also 69 overall, but he's probably being used too.
Oh, for sure.
I'd have to go watch more Bills games.
I bet you his like speed and acceleration are good, and his awareness is shit. If I had to guess. Because if you're usering a safety, they just need to be fast. Like, their awareness can be garbage. It does not matter. You're using them.
Mm-hmm.
Kicker, Rodrigo Blankenship, good for you. I don't even care. We're just moving on.
Yeah, kicker is good for you.
Offensive player in the NFC. You want to start us off?
Yeah, Saquon Barkley. Darth, man. Saquon don't get hurt in the game like he does in real life, man. He's led the revival for him.
No, but he will hurt you.
Yeah. Aaron Jones right behind him, followed by Kamara. I mean, it's always running backs, dude. Running backs, they get the stats. I feel like it's running backs all the way down to 5. Actually, we don't even have a quarterback in the top 5 in the NFC with Kamara at 3rd, Dalvin Cook at 4th, and Elijah Mitchell sitting at 5. Like Justin Fields is the 6th. That's the first quarterback. Then it's Fournette. Then it's Akers. Then Lance. Then Montgomery. So out of the top 10 for the offensive player of the year, 2 of them are quarterbacks: Trey Lance and Justin Fields. That's pretty wild to me.
That's insane. And I'm going back to the AFC right now just to compare. And they only have 3: Mahomes, Allen, and Jackson.
In Madden, it's a running back award. Real life, it's a quarterback award. Madden, it's a running back award.
Which is, and again, it's not to say that we don't have quarterbacks in this league that are popping the fuck off, because that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you're right. It's in Madden, it's a running back award. That's, yeah, I guess. Defensive player of the year. Go ahead.
Defensive player of the year. Nick Bosa leading the way, man, for the resurgent beans and those 49ers. My man Mike Edwards has fallen a spot back. He hasn't gotten a pick in a couple of weeks. I think he's still tied for the league lead with the Saints. With Gardner Johnson, they're tied with 10 apiece. Gardner Johnson right behind him. Micah Parsons. That is the best part of Seal's game. Micah Parsons, like, his user with him is great.
Yes.
It's just other little stuff he's got to put together. And then AJ Boye for the Vikings, man, sneaking in there like, hey, I'm here, fucking cornerback for the Vikings.
I exist.
Defensive player of the year. I exist. I think it's a race between Bosa, Edwards, and Johnson. I hope my guy Mike Edwards wins it. I'd love to win defensive player of the year with the safety. He's been great. He's awesome. I run a lot of big nickel. He plays my slot cornerback a ton. Like, he comes up with plays for me.
Yeah.
And it was funny, too, because, like, coming into the season, I think it was Jay Smooth was trying to trade for Brady. And he was like, yeah, I'll give you Harrison Smith. I know safety's a point of need. And I'm like, no, I'm going to start this kid. And I'm fucking glad I have, because he's been awesome.
Yeah.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, Thad Anderson. Doesn't surprise me. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of rookies making impacts, honestly, in the NFC.
No.
Like, because if you look at the teams that the Seahawks have 2, so Noobs is using them.
The fucking
Levi
CPU
Pippins
1-13 Lions and the number 2 offensive rookie.
Exactly.
That tells you everything you need to know about the offensive impact of rookies in the NFC.
Yeah, all the good rookies fucking offensively, I guess, were over in the fucking AFC.
And Pippins, for what it's
on the
worth,
Bills,
is a
on the Bills
78 overall.
specifically.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, though, how was the NFC expected to have good offensive rookies when the Bills drafted all of them? Like, the Bills in the last draft were like John Goodman at Thanksgiving in that episode of Family Guy.
Oh my fucking god! You can have what's left. There's never any left.
Yeah. You can have what's left. There won't be any left. There's never any left. it's exactly that. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Like,
nah, man, you're not wrong. You're not wrong there. But yeah, no, the usage is definitely different. Defensive Rookie of the Year, my man Nathan Ware. This is once again defensive rookies are just not making that huge of an impact. Nathan Ware, he's been a starter for me all year. He's been good. He's a really good speed rusher, man. He also was hurt for 4 weeks and is still holding the spot, and he just came back this week, or like maybe the week before that.
Oh, yikes.
You got a Lion behind me. Once again, they're not getting used.
Dude, the NFC didn't draft for shit. Like,
well, no, look at the overalls. The overalls on them are good.
I mean, that's fair. Okay, so then I guess they're not doing anything with it.
Yeah, they're just not doing.
Like,
I mean, I know Nathan Ware's got some.
The Lions have 2 players in the top 5. Like, yeah. Carl Simpson, good for him.
Fight. Did you see that receiver Jameson was got 98 speed? The Lions are kind of sexy, dude.
Oh, are you talking for
23? For 23, man, and Aiden Hutchinson. Ooh, there's a good little base right there. You go ahead, deal with it first, but like these are year-round leagues, dog. Like,
yeah,
I guess 6-7 seasons.
Oh, hell yeah! So the Lions are like one of the I low-key want the Lions. I think I can move up enough in score to where it's reasonable that I get them. I love their fucking uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Love what they do with those. And I'm with you. I think the Lions are one of those teams that's like, yeah, you need a quarterback. And to what I said earlier, I don't know shit about what their offensive line, I assume, is pretty bad. Their defensive line can't be terrible because they just
They have some okay parts on the offensive line, man.
and they just
Their
drafted
defense
Agent
needs
Hutchinson,
a lot of
so
work.
it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm a D-line user. That's my wet fucking dream. I'm thinking that's a pick that's a team that's going to be up there on my draft board as I'm looking. But yeah, I mean, it's slim pickings for defensive rookie of the year, at least in this league. Again, there will be an entire podcast talking about like teams and rosters and shit. And that one, holy shit.
That's going to be a long one.
That's going to be a long one.
Good.
Frankly, we should probably plan that one during the day.
Yes, we should start that one at about 5 in the fucking afternoon, dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long
Just
podcast.
see where it goes.
You have early access?
No.
That's an end to the podcast conversation. Let's get through this, and then we can get to our little banter at the end. And
although we are almost 2 hours in, we got timestamps, so who cares? Timestamps, yeah. I'm just acting like
Google logo facing out.
I'm acting like timestamps just solve all the problems with this podcast. Like,
I don't think there's many problems with it. That's the thing.
well, no, and I'm with you. Like, there's things we can improve for sure, but that's a good way to put it though. They're not problems. There's just things we can improve. And even at that, I don't think there's a ton. But of course, we're not perfect, and we never will be. But we're always going to strive for it. You can't
Best QB and
you can't be perfect, but if you strive for perfection, you can attain excellence. Little nugget for those of you that are going to listen to this on your drive to work, and you're not going to finish it before your drive to work because we're 2 hours in. And if you have a 2 hour commute, I feel very sorry for you. Best QB. Hold on. If I weren't sitting down, I would need to sit down for this. In a world where Daniel Jones was the best quarterback in the NFC. Like, the fuck?
it's the user, man. Dark
It is.
Dad, man. He plays well with him. He does well enough. Like,
Some of us are
thing.
blessed with gifts that others just will never have. I couldn't do I couldn't do that well with Daniel Jones for sure. And I think it's kind of like what you were saying earlier, and like not even on the podcast, but it's like you almost do like we're used to the scramblers, but it's nice to have a pocket passer even though we prefer scramblers because it's like all right, well,
Brady's
I can't run.
Brady's been a renaissance for me, dude.
Yeah.
To be completely honest,
Because
with
it
you,
forces you to actually read shit because you know you can't run.
Which also forced me to visit the skills trainer and look at different concepts and how they work within the game.
Who would have known? I tried the skills
Would have
trainer.
known.
I did. I didn't have enough time. I didn't like sit down. But I like to do it, yeah.
You gotta sit down, you gotta read it, man. You gotta look at it, and you just gotta learn what you're looking for, and then honestly, either go into head-to-head, play people, break it out, or even just go into a fucking practice mode, man, random defense, and just run that concept until you have the, like, reads burned into your head, basically.
To be honest with you, I would do that, but I'm not going to spend any amount of time doing that now because the new Madden's coming out. Like,
No,
I'll do that in the
like,
new one.
now-
Like, there's
now-
no point in investing into it at this point.
I'm fucking with shit now and doing shit now because we're going into the playoffs,
Right,
man, and
right.
like everybody kind of knows each other at this point and knows each other and what they like to run and do.
Yeah.
So adding new wrinkles, new concepts at this point is great. I'm fucking invested in the playoffs. The second that hits final and that hits 0, I give a fuck about Madden outside. Well, obviously not a fuck about Madden. I'm going to be doing this podcast involved in the league, stuff like that. I give a fuck about it. Like,
You don't give a fuck about Madden
until the
22
next game.
at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Daniel Jones, Thad Anderson, Justin Fields. This is that interesting thing where Justin Fields was... Daniel Jones and Thad Anderson were not in MVP considerations. They weren't even in the top
Fields
10.
was.
But they're 1 and 2, and Fields, who was at 6, the 6th vote for MVP, is the 3rd best quarterback. Makes no sense. Baby can't even walk. Trey Lance is number 4. He was also an MVP candidate. Then you've got Rodgers at 5. So, strange the way that they've done this, but if I were to look at Daniel Jones' stats, I would assume that he was deserving of that. Darth's a good user. He also has, coincidentally, but not really, the number 1 running back. That's the one that checks out, because he was number 3 in MVP voting. Saquon Barkley is a fucking handful, and he uses him well. Aaron Jones, I'm right now trying to recall. I thought I actually handled Aaron Jones well in my game against the Packers. I think I did well against. He had a few like stretch runs to the outside and shit like that, but he didn't like tear me up or anything. But he's obviously having a good season. I don't think he's gonna catch Barkley for running back.
Nah.
You do have Kamara.
Not with the way Darth uses Saquon, man. He's good.
Kamara, Cook, and Mitchell. I mean, this is essentially your MVP voting, right? In that order, I think. So, I'm sorry, NFC Player of the Year. My bad.
Yeah, for NFC. I was going to say because it's loaded on the AFC side.
Yeah, for
the
MVP,
fucking
but
MVP
for
voting.
NFC Player of the Year, I'm pretty sure it's just this exact order.
Yeah, very close to it. So,
nothing surprising there. Your boy Mike Evans, there it is. You was waiting. It feels like it's been a minute since we talked about
like Mike,
Tyreek
dude.
Hill.
Like Mike. I mean, hey, dude, you can take all the speed in the world, and Mike's not the fastest guy, dude, but, like, his routes, he gets separation. He's he catches the fucking ball. He is one of those dudes where
that's
it's
a
just
literal
like
underrated thing.
No, like, dude, and, like, he's one of those guys, man, where you look at him and you're like, because he doesn't fit the bill at what you look for a Madden receiver, right? Everybody looks for that speed guy, even if you don't. Oh, I don't probably. All of you do. I do. So
all of you do. We're putting you all into one box, like it or not, motherfucker.
When it comes to speed and receivers in Madden, yes, I fucking will. Mike's changed my mind, man. Like, if you know how to use those guys, man, if you're good at throwing jump balls and user catching, and if they have the right kind of fucking the different route runnings, man, that's making more sense than it ever did before. Like, and he just gets open. He makes plays for me.
He's always open, right? Like, even when he's not open, he's open.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing is there's times single coverage. I'm like, well, he's got like +4 on that corner for height. So
right.
I'm gonna throw this L1 high pass and I'm gonna fucking aggressive catch it. More than likely, this is gonna be batted. Like, if I don't get it, it's gonna be incomplete.
Do you know why the league should be fucking terrified of me going into Madden 23? When I was going through a skills trainer, it was like, oh yeah, you do L1 to high pass, and I was like, oh. So that's not just, like, up on the left stick? Because that's what I've been doing this entire fucking Madden. Like, I didn't even... Oh, you guys are so fucked. You guys are so fucked. Everyone's memeing, like, you should use the skills trainer. Y'all fucked up. I'm using the skills trainer. I'm coming for that ass. Like, I'm learning. L1 is the high pass. And L2 for a low... Oh, shit. We're going places. Had to shout myself out while also throwing myself completely under the bus. DK Metcalf is another, like, DK Metcalf is your Madden receiver, right? Like, he's tall and huge and fast. Like, that's all you care about. And he's number 2 in the NFC for receivers. Darnell Mooney has been there. Like, Darnell Mooney and DJ Shark have been behind each other, like 1 and 2 per their team. I feel like for a few times we've been around, but I feel like they've also moved up one. I thought last time they were 4 and 5. So good on them. Moving on up, Rico fucking Gafford. I understand he's 6th and like not even, but like Gafford was the guy that
skipping over my man Russell Gage.
I know, and we'll talk about Gage, but like I just saw it and the name gave me PTSD from my game yesterday.
Oh yeah,
Rico Gafford was just. That was the guy. He was Mr. Third Down. but he's not in the top 5, so fuck you, Rico Gafford. Fuck the horse you rode in on. If you got any friends, fuck them too. Russell Gage Jr. rounds out number 5. Had an easy season.
He's been the surprising one, man, and he even was good last year, especially throughout the playoffs. And since then, I just look his way more and more and more and more and more, and just it's weird when Chris Godwin's the guy I don't look at
the guy who's
often.
not on this list.
Yep. Both those guys are over 1,100 yards.
Jarvis Landry, of course.
It's 1,300 something for fucking Evans and 1,100 for Gage.
Those aren't bad seasons. Is Gage in your slot then, and Godwin's the number 2?
Yes.
I see that though. I don't want to say it's easy, but it's easy to forget your wide receiver too. If your number 1 guy is great and your number 3 guy
my
is
wide
great,
receiver 2 is the guy that suffers all the time.
Yeah. Offensive line, and here you go. Respectable. Makes sense across the board. Lane Johnson, have yourself a season. One of my lone bright spots. But yeah, I mean the Buccaneers have an amazing offensive line, so it's no surprise.
Man, and if I didn't have to trade Shaq Mason for cap shit, I would have 3 of the top 5.
Yeah, you would. But cap shit, man.
With the Buccaneers,
Hey.
dude.
Mo money, mo problems.
I'll tell you right now, the Buccaneers won't be a top 10 pick in Madden 23 next year when we do this draft. I guarantee it.
Why not?
Brady, cap.
Okay. Well, if they fall into my lap, if I'm picking in the teens, I'll gladly take him.
You'll have a really good first 2 years.
Yeah. Or it'll be the other way around.
I'll be hitting you up about one of them receivers.
Sounds good. And then the trade will get denied.
Play your games, maybe it won't.
Hey, man. That wasn't the official reason. Well, anyways. Things and stuff.
That wasn't in here either, so it is.
It wasn't. It
was
not
matter.
in this league.
It doesn't
That's right.
matter.
That's why I make
That's
a
a re-
podcast.
that's a
and have
re-
that's why I make a podcast and have a Twitter account for this league. Tristan Wirfs is number 1. Ryan Jensen's number 2. David Bakhtiari, number 3. Again, names that you expect to see up there. Those are 2 really solid offensive linemen for the Bucks. And God bless you, sweet prince. I hope that you ever play again. Have you been following David Bakhtiari's news IRL?
No, I haven't.
It's not good. And I know you're walking away, so I'll keep on talking while you're walking, but I know you can hear me.
I can't hear you. I can.
Oh, you can, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I
hear
said.
you.
I talk really fast, so you may have heard can't, but I was like, you can walk away, and I know you can't talk, but I know that you can hear me. So anyways, no, Bakhtiari, he's on the PUP list to start the season, physically unable to perform, and it's been a year and a half. It'll be a year and 3/4 since he tore his ACL. So everyone's like, oh shit, is he ever gonna play football again? There might literally it might not happen, and that would be absolutely fucking tragic. Obviously Madden doesn't care about that, and Madden 23 doesn't care about that either because he's on that roster too. But yeah, in real life, it doesn't look great for Bakhtiari. I think his ACL is fine, but there's other shit that's wrong with his knee now, and it's your left tackle, you need your knees. It is, as a Packers fan, it is something. It's tragic just because obviously he's the best left tackle in football, probably when he's healthy, and so that's a huge missing piece from your line. But also just from a player perspective, you hate to see such a legendary, at least such a great career in the making, end that way. But all of that to say, he's number 3 in the best offensive lineman for the NFC. Shaq Mason, previously called out, was a Buccaneer, but had to get traded for cap reasons. He's number 4, and then Lane Johnson is number 5. Best defensive line. No surprise here that Nick Bosa is number 1 there. He's at the top for defensive player of the year. So you would expect for him to be up there. Okay, that makes more sense. I was going to say what doesn't make much sense for me is that Fletcher Cox is number 2 for defensive line, but Hassan Reddick is not on the list. That doesn't make any sense at all to me. But it's because Hassan Reddick is technically a linebacker. He almost exclusively plays a rush. Like, I run a 4-3, but Hassan Reddick is still like a rush outside linebacker that will also play in some nickel sets as the linebacker. He is essentially just a rush edge. Like, he's a linebacker, but he's a rush edge, which will almost always put him as the end in my system. So technically,
he goes into that sub rush end position.
Yeah, so he's basically always on the end for me. Anyways, Nick Bosa is number 1. Fletcher Cox is number 2. Vita Vea is number 3. Yannick Ngakoue, whatever. Ngakoue, there you go. Ngakoue, there you go. That's actually much smoother to say than I would have thought.
Yeah, he is Yannick Ngakoue.
There you go. And then Kenny Clark sneaking up in there to the number 5 spot in defensive line. Best linebacker. Oh, man, this is going to come down to the end of the season, I would think. It's Hassan Reddick, who has really come up huge towards the end of the season as that edge guy. It's funny. It's like a Micah Parsons, literally. He's obviously much older, but was an inside guy that I took over the team, and they sort of had him there, and I was like, yeah, and he's a better speed rusher, I guess. I'd known the Hassan Reddick from Madden's past of, like, the inside linebacker user monster, but, like, he's just doing fine on his own on the edge and getting some big sacks for me. As well as also, like, mauling people off. If he can, he's the kind of guy that can, like, block shed in the way that can shut down, like, a slant or like a stretch or a toss. And so that's been good. And it's sort of the same way with Micah Parsons, right? Like, Micah Parsons is a guy that you can play wherever the fuck you want to play him. Like, you can play him inside, play him outside. And so those guys are number 1 and 2 for best linebacker in the NFC. Travis Gibson is number 3. Leonard Floyd is number 4. And Eric Kendricks. Eric fucking Kendricks. Still sticking around, still staying relevant. Got to respect that.
Got that lurker. Got that lurker, man.
Yes, sir. Best DB. You want to take this one over real quick?
Yeah, best DB, Mike Edwards, man. My man, still sitting in number 1 there. Tied now with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson with 10 picks on the season. I mean, I really don't know how they make the determination or difference. I know interceptions probably don't play fully into it. Yeah, Jalen Ramsey right behind him at number 3, which is crazy to me, but he's a corner, man. I feel like those guys can get beat a little bit easier sometimes. Really just depends on what kind of coverage you play to. JC Horns at number 4 with AJ Boye at number 5. I'm biased. I just hope it doesn't change in the next 2 weeks. I really just kind of hope Mike Edwards ends up winning that. Like, I just think that would be interesting as shit to me.
Well, play well with him and he will.
Yep, this dude that, like, was a big question mark for me coming into the season has been, like, one of the best parts of my defense.
That is pretty cool to see.
Like, he was a backup safety last year that was in some packages, and then, like, yeah, no, this year comes into the season and just has balled out.
Nice. Well, best kicker, I'm really disappointed because for the whole fucking season, it had been Jake Elliott. I called it out. I was that offense that kicked a lot of field goals because I couldn't fucking convert in the red zone, and now Tucker McFucking can. Fuck you, Bloom. The one thing that I had was best kicker. And it's a terrible...
Hassan Reddick's best linebacker right now. He's over here like, fucking kicker!
That's fair. That's fair. It's because I wasn't used to him. I was used to Jake Elliott being the best kicker. I was not used to Hassan Reddick being like, but I might be the best linebacker. That does okay. So that's you are right to point that out, and I overreacted. But still, fuck you, Bloom. Let me have the best kicker. Just let it happen. Also, the guy's 69, nice, but like, come on. Also, kicker overalls mean nothing. Jake Elliott's a 76. Like, none of these guys... look at this shit. Like, not a one of them is over... One is over an 80. Young Hoku. And
Graham
and
Gano's
Graham
an
Gano.
81.
Like, one of the top 10 kickers is over. It's because overall does not matter for them.
No, not really.
That's why, again...
Not...
The discussion came up earlier in the chat, like, about ratings balancing. They, like, EA just put so much overall value into awareness that I don't understand. Like, I legitimately don't understand how awareness is weighted as highly as it is for a kicker when kick power and kick accuracy are stats.
Right.
What the fuck does awareness have anything to do with anything else? I don't understand. But anyways, that's a topic for another podcast. All right, man. We've truly outdone ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, we ran the course, man. We went through
ran
everything.
the gambit.
We banter. We said we would do shorter during the divisions. We did not. We bantered as we always did.
I even said the last time that I was not going to say we'd do shorter anymore, and then I did it again. So I'm just... Now, I promise.
Now, here's my thing, though, is I didn't think that 3 teams were going to be locked into the playoffs. Like, I didn't think there was going to be that much possibility for movement.
You thought more teams were going to be locked in, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be way more people locked into it than what is.
I also thought the discussion wouldn't be as vibrant as it was, but they, you play the hand you're dealt. And frankly,
you know what we won't have to like say that is when we're in the playoffs, so we don't have to talk about half the league.
That's so true. That's gonna be like, it's gonna be shadowboxing light. Like, we're not obligated to talk about 2/3 of you motherfuckers.
Oh god, shadowboxing light, the playoff pods.
Yep.
Get ready for shadowboxing light, the playoff pods.
Oh, we'll get that.
Right. I fucking love it.
Absolutely.
So end of the podcast thoughts. Just end on something here. Like what do we got to ramble on? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? This is something I want to talk to you about. Because,
do you have any idea how pissed off the people that are sitting here at 2 hours and 17 minutes are? That you're like, end of the podcast thoughts, we'll ramble. What are your thoughts? They're like, shut the fuck up and end this.
Just timestamp this as end of podcast rambling. So,
yes.
What are your thoughts on the league going forward as a whole? Because obviously this was like a late start. You started off a little bit less committed than I did. Like, I got in here and I was like, this is fucking great. I love it here. Wait, you motherfuckers play year round? Yeah. Like, I was bought in. You were a little bit slower to start, and then, I don't know, like, we talked a little bit, and then, it was, a lot of it was your game and the situation you were in, and you made strides to try to do better at that, and you saw more success because of it. So, like, how do you feel going into Madden 23? Like, regardless, you're probably not, you're not going to be one of the people with the top 10 pick. I wouldn't assume. No, you know what I mean? No. Because you got such a late start.
Right.
So, how do you feel going into M23 for TSR with a full season in front of you, probably like 6-7 seasons, somewhere in there, to actually build a team, you know what I mean? Where it's not going to just be a 3-4 year thing and then it's done.
Yeah. I am, like, I'm honestly, like, I am fucking thrilled to not have Jalen Hurts as my quarterback. And so help me God, if I end up in a position where the Eagles are the best team for me to draft, I'm gonna kill myself. That's... No, but on a real note, though, yeah, it's definitely part of it. Like, I joined later in the cycle. It is still fun. All of it was fun. I really tried to get out of Jalen Hurts being my quarterback, and I couldn't make that happen. And he's actually been fine this year. Like, he's not the reason that I'm losing games. I mean, he's really not. I can think of my most recent losses, and I'm like, I can't even really blame him for that. So, but it's exciting to have the new team that you get to go with, and like you said, I don't really, I don't know where I'm drafting right now. It's like in the mid to early 20s, I think, and I assume that score goes up. But even if it doesn't, I don't hate drafting anywhere, because to your point, it's the year-round cycle, right? It's not like, okay, so we're gonna play this game from August until November, and then people are gonna lose interest, and then it just dies. It's like, okay, well, I can take over early, and maybe it takes 2 or 3 years to turn my team around. That's fine. We're gonna play 5 or 6 seasons at least, so I don't mind that. And what's the worst case scenario? I end up being just as bad as I always am in Madden, and then I still have fun while I'm doing it, making this podcast, and I never have fun during the games. Holy shit! But I have fun talking about it. It's so much fun in theory.
It's fun dream.
Right. I love the idea of it. But no, seriously. No, I'm seriously looking forward to it. I just said seriously twice in 5 words. This is where I'm at. This is what happens. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to the team draft. I'm looking forward to thinking about it and talking about it. I can't wait to. The big thing, obviously, for all of us is going to be to see when the final draft standings are for your teams, and then everyone's gonna know where they stand, and everyone's gonna get to start to look at, okay, what are some teams that I'm looking at? What do I like? What do I not want? If I get a team that I don't want, what am I gonna do to make them better? And what's my kind of window that I can feel like I can be competitive in? Getting real analytical, okay, if it's a team that's in a bad spot, how do I make it better? If you have a team if you draft the Bucks, how are you gonna not just be hyper competitive in years 1 and 2 and then be garbage for the rest of the year because of cap? All those things, they're really exciting. And it's just, you get to this point in the cycle, and the idea of starting with a different team and hitting the reset button feels right. You don't want that after, when leagues restart after 3 or 4 seasons and they rebrand or whatever the hell, it can feel bad for the teams that spent a couple seasons building up and then they finally felt like they hit their sweet spot. But when you've played an entire cycle, it's okay, and I haven't played as long as and this league didn't even start right away, as far as I know. It started later in the cycle. 2
seasons, right? Man. This started way late in the cycle, way late in the cycle.
So it's definitely, There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of optimism going for me personally, at least, and I feel like there should be for everybody. Even if and that's what I would say to the teams that had worse records this year. Play for next cycle. We've said this before, but play for next cycle. Get to know the users, because guess what? The users, their habits aren't going to change drastically overnight. A new Madden isn't going to change the way that you play. It's just not. Even if the engine changes, we're stubborn bastards, all of us. So get to know the users, how they play, and if nothing else, just interact with them. Have fun. And that's what I'm doing. I'm having fun. I love doing this podcast. I don't know if I'm going to make the playoffs or not. I'm going to try like hell to do it. Even if I don't, I'm going to have fun podcasting about the playoffs. So,
you're right, man. I mean, I'm in the same boat.
Fuck right off. You are making the playoffs. We are not in the same boat.
Well, no. I mean, I'm in the same boat, which is how I feel about it going into 23.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited even for the filler, man. We're going to have 3 weeks. We're going to have a couple of podcasts, man, to really talk about this and really get down into things. And I'm excited to hopefully really have some guests during those.
Yeah.
Leading up to next season, because
well, that'll be when we have all the rope to talk about whatever the fuck we want.
Right? We could just hop on this bitch and just do whatever and talk about whatever when it comes to Madden rankings, team selection, so on and so forth. It's still there. Take a sip.
No.
Anybody who got this far and saw that, like, Jesus fuck.
No, because I looked and I was like, I didn't think there was anything left in this glass and whatever that is. No, I mean, like, this is from like a couple hours ago. It did not settle, but it's just straight whiskey. It's Sinatra Select, actually.
Yeah, no, I saw the picture you posted. I saw the picture
I was
you
like,
posted.
I don't know. It smells. No, we're not. I don't know. It's got a milky look to it. Like, you're not gonna be able to see that at all. Actually, it looks better on the camera than it does in real life. It does not look the way that it should. I don't think.
It's a little hazy.
It looks a little hazy. It shouldn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was listening. I was just also looking at my.
No, but like at the overall end of the day, man, we've got a solid user. It starts at the top. So we've got a solid admin team. We've got a solid user base. Like, more than just a core. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got a solid user base. Sky's the fucking limit, right? Gotta be, right?
No, and like, I seriously can't think of a single. I don't want to say bad apple, but like, you know what I mean. There's not a single user that I can think
dude,
of.
Even the guys, like, I know, I hope he watches to this part. Everybody rags on Gamebuster, right? Because he talks about Mutt, and like, he's even said, I remember his first season, he's like, I don't know if I can fucking do this, man. Like, sim runs completely different than comp, and you know, I'm being limited by these rules. But like, he's adjusted, and now look at it. The motherfucker's 11-3 in his second season. That's a dude I'm excited to watch going into next year. It's guys like that. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and you know he's adjusted because they hand out suspensions if you don't.
I hate to be I hate to be the guy that's, you know, like 12 years older than I think he is, but like, that reminds me of a young me coming into like fucking sim leagues and shit, and like going from doing that kind of thing to being like, this is just stupid, and I'm sick of, like, I at least even when, like, back in the day, right, before we were playing in sim leagues, we punted, you know what I mean? I didn't go for it on 4th and fucking 15 from my 30 and shit like that.
Yeah.
So then you'd lose to that shit, and you'd be like, this is fucking
This
stupid.
is bullshit. I wish there was a way to stop it. And then someone was like, sim leagues.
Yeah, but no, then I remember I found my first sim league. I got into that shit. Like, they vetted me, and I was in there. And I was just kind of like, whoa, at first.
I know, because you called me.
True.
You were like, bro, you're not going to believe the shit that I fell into.
Yeah, exactly. And we've never looked back since, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, there's no reason to.
I don't play in lobby leagues. There's no fucking reason. I don't play Mutt.
Well, and like, why? Literally, there's no reason for a lobby league to exist because of Mutt. You want to play a lobby league? Go play head-to-heads or play Mutt. Like, there's the only like connected franchise modes that should exist anymore should just be sim leagues.
You'd be surprised. There's so many fucking trashes.
I know
There's
that
so
there
many...
are. I'm just saying. I
know enough sim leagues that claim to be sim leagues.
Well,
fucking sim leagues.
Yeah, that's true. Predators is what they are. They're trying to get the Bambies in there.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to play safe?
That's how they get you.
They do. It do be like that. But yeah, no, I think we've both got a lot of optimism for Madden 23. I'm really excited, and I think that we should, one of these days, I'm off Monday. You're off Monday, Tuesday still, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm off Monday, Tuesday next week. I think next week we should, like, sit down and, like, and this could be off podcast, but I want the people listening to know, especially the ones that have lasted this long. We should talk about, like, for the first time ever, mostly because during the season it's the same sort of shit and it's kind of laid out for us what we should talk about. But I think we should just, like, do a little bit of brainstorming of the topics we should talk about during our off-season podcasts. Because I want to keep filming it. Well, recording it, but we're also filming, I guess. But I want to keep doing it, and I want to have relevant stuff to talk about.
100%.
So maybe next week we just sit down and brainstorm a little bit about some topics we can talk about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's not a problem for me, man. Mondays, Tuesdays, I ain't doing much of shit, but hanging here, I grill
getting
Mondays.
a new laundry machine,
like,
you know.
Yeah, that's next Monday, dude. Next Monday, that fucker finally gets dropped out. It was not how I expected to start my morning, but it's what I had to do, so fuck it.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Nope. Is it? I want to be an adult so bad.
And then, that's why they give you alcohol. Because you realize, this shit sucks. What's the benefit? You can buy booze. Okay.
Speaking of which, Shadowboxing has been brought to you by Lyman Kugels.
Right. And by... Where is it? Oh, you can get the champagne glass side this time. It's so... With the lighting, it's so hard. High Life, the champagne beers. Again, I stand by another hill I'll die on. We're more likely to get sponsored by High Life than we are by Lyman Google. Alright, I think that's a good note to end it on, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, we could probably end it there.
Shadowboxing with Filthy and
Everybody who
J-Dog.
stepped into the ring tonight and made it this far, we appreciate you joining us. And J-Dog, you want to lead it off with your ending?
I was going to, and then I had the shadowboxing audio cue lined up, and then I accidentally hit spacebar while you were talking. And in case you didn't know, spacebar is play. So it played that 3-second audio bit and totally talked right over whatever you were saying. And all I'll say is this podcast wouldn't be complete without some sort of audio fuck up like that. So if you want to go ahead and say whatever it is you had said again.
Something
sideways on your chair like some sort of fucking Bond villain? Like, what is happening right now? Why,
what's up?
Why did you turn around like to the side? Like, you look like a Bond villain right now.
No, TSR. I expect you to die. No, like... Okay, I'll swing this way, because apparently I'm a goddamn Bond villain. Thank you, Shadowboxing, and everyone who made it this far, and especially if you made it to this part, past the audio glitch, where you're like, these fucking idiots. Thank you for stepping into the ring tonight.
That's right.
J-Dog, say your piece. I'm gonna go back to looking like a Bond villain.
He does. He's even have a, imagine that's a cigar. Like, it's a Bond villain. Alright. Again, I sound like a broken record. We love the support that you guys have given us. We love the feedback that you guys give us. That's the two biggest things for this podcast to keep it going and to keep it getting better. Next week we will definitely have a guest on, and it will somehow be shorter than this week. I don't even know. Like, I'm done trying to predict how long.
No, it
episodes
fucking
are
won't
be. Like,
it won't. It's not gonna be shorter. Stop fucking lying.
Like,
Don't lie to these people.
Should I?
These are good people. You stop fucking lying to them.
Am I? Is this how we're sitting now?
I can't.
I'll just do the rest of the podcast like this. So yeah, thank you guys for your support. We really appreciate it. The feedback, we love it. We literally, I don't know about you, Scott, but when the episode drops, I look for the comments in the chat. Like, I want to see who's talking about it, who's got feedback for us, and who just generally enjoyed the content. So thank you guys so much for always being vocal about that. We really appreciate it. And then otherwise, this is weird. I can't do this shit. I don't know how it's. Otherwise, as always, make sure that you folks take care of yourselves, and if you can, take care of someone else as well. So, for Filthy Hand 74, I'm J-Dog4. This has been Shadowboxing Season 1, Episode 3. We look forward to seeing you guys around next time. Otherwise, take care of yourselves, and if you can, take care of someone else as well. Have a great night.
Good night, gents.
Shadowboxing with Filthy and J-Dog.